lovely mid-June day as we're all tucked safely inside in the air conditioning from the beginnings of the sweltering heat of either Texas or Dorne. Take your pick. But we are picking up today's episode right where last episode left off, amidst all manner of bloodshed and gore and violence and drama and tension and fear, and hundreds of casualties from what was our bloodiest episode ever of A Sea of Spears, because we are currently in the middle of the climactic battle between the Southern Coalition, head by House Nymerian, and joined by House Dondarrion of Blackhaven, the Danes of Starfall, House Swan, etc., etc., against the nefarious Vulture King. So, last episode, 2 weeks ago, we kicked things off with a very bloody first round of that battle. And this episode, we're going to pick up here at kind of top of round two as the carnage continues. And we've got knights and archers and bandits and infantrymen and all this clashing in the middle of a bloody field here outside Kingston, near the seat of Kingsgrave, which is the home of House Manwoody, that you guys have been sent to assist and protect against the depredations of the Vulture King and his pretty swole alliance of bandit leaders and deserters, and apparently they have received some material assistance at the very least from House Ironwood, which we're going to have to worry about in the near future instead of right now. So yeah, there's a lot been going on. We cut off, like I said, right at the start of the Lady Bela Nymerian giving orders to this coalition alliance. Um, this first fight, just a reminder for viewers, we are basically doing everything rules as written. We are being a little bit fuzzy with the time, in that it took us like 3 hours to play out the first 1 minute of this battle. So, also in that 1 minute, for instance, Sir Oris the Aurochs killed 100 men. So we're like, maybe that didn't actually happen in 60 seconds. Maybe, um, Sir Wynn of Wynn Tower and his 20 men didn't kill 200 guys in 60 seconds. Maybe we're going to be a little bit flexible in terms of how long a round is. Um, but in terms of health and damage and orders and all the rest, we're running this combat exactly as it's written in the book, to some mixed results. But if we need to, at the end of the battle, um, we're going to smooth over any weird rough edges that might erupt from just a weird roll or two. And we're going to keep the broad strokes of the battle just as the dice fall and as the drama unfolds. So, um, let's do a round of introductions, and let's kick off with the Lady Bela Nymerian, who
Hey,
is the commander of this Southern Coalition. How's it going, Erica? Who's your character? What you up
mm.
to? And who is ordered to introduce themselves next?
Hi everyone, I'm Erica, and I'm playing Thela Nymerian. I'm the younger sister of a set of twins, and I am the general, the leader of our army that's facing off against the Vulture King. And so far in the battle, things have been mostly going well. We've managed to kill off a good number of our opponent's forces. We have taken some losses, which is unfortunate, but that's how battles go. And I'm confident going into the second round that we can be decisive and move towards total victory. Um, Next up, I will have my older sister, Reina, go. Reina?
Uh, I hear her introducing herself in real life, but she is frozen up and locked in my
Oh.
Discord.
Um,
Yeah, I can't, yeah, like her.
okay. Instead, how about we go to my brother Luke, who has had some interesting things happen so far in the battle.
Hi, everybody. My name is Robert. I'm playing Luke. He is currently in the middle of very thick fighting. He's taking some damage. He's lost his horse. He's reappeared on a new horse. And there's just blood and mayhem everywhere. Very fun times.
Felicia is restarting, so
Yeah,
I think
it's
we're gonna go to Adam the Archer next.
yeah. Well, hi, I'm Ash. I play Adam Nymerian, and unfortunately, the first volley of arrows didn't really do anything at all, so that was a bit disappointing. But we've started lighting the arrows on fire, so hopefully next round's going to be really good fun. Yeah.
All right. That's everyone except for Felicia / Lady Reyna. A quick update on several of the NPCs that are currently running amok. The thickest of the melee fighting that we've seen has mostly been on the left flank of the line, where there was a Nymerian charge and counter charges, backseat, forthsea, backseat, forthsea, that have resulted in a swirling mass of knights hacking each other to bits, and then a fresh wave of knights surging in on that flank. There was a volley of spears and arrows from some bandit guerrillas hidden on that side. That's GUE gorillas, not like super primates. That'd be pretty cool.
Although the next war we get into.
Yeah, like when you guys are invading uh Gorilla Grodd's country, isn't it just called like Gorilla Town or something?
Gorilla City.
Yeah, Gorilla City.
Not
My
very
man.
innovative.
Yeah.
He didn't name it.
The comic writers in the '60s didn't pay much attention to future proofing their stuff.
That was one of 12 gorillas to premiere that month in DC Comics. So
Yeah, they like their gorillas.
I mean, we're not like humanity's not really known for inventive naming, given that that goes back so far. Like Mount Fujiyama's name means mountain, mountain, mountain.
Yeah. So we've got
there's like five different rivers in Britain that are called River, basically.
yeah. And then there's the number of new somethings all over the place, of course. So yeah, we've got this swirling fight going on there on one flank that has tended to be the cavalry charges and counter charges. Towards the little bit to the right side of the line, Sir Edwin Wynn led his axemen from Wynn Tower in a fairly madcap charge that butchered a bunch of archers and infantry, and then they were overwhelmed in turn. And then we've had some back and forth from archer volleys that have been just kind of peppering damage all over the place. But all told, casualties on the bandit side, we've got 2 units of archers that have been completely wrecked, 1 unit of guerrillas that is being cut down by Sir Orus the Aurochs atop his Tourney 1 Destrier. We've got a unit of infantry that was wrecked, a unit of light cavalry that's been destroyed, and a unit of knights that are scattered and trying to reform, along with a unit of lighter Dornish cavalry. So you guys have been doing a number on these bandits, and out of character, that's been thanks in large part to the rule of if a unit takes double damage in one hit, like double their total health, you ignore all the usual damage mitigation steps. So that one's been causing a bit of a ruckus here on both sides.
both ways, yeah.
So how are we doing on casualties on your side, Lady Bela? And then after that, we'll let Reyna introduce herself because it looks like Felicia's back, but we'll give her a second to make sure everything's working.
Yep. So on our side, we had some infantry from House Dondarrion get disorganized by taking a lot of damage, and then they were rallied back into formation, and so they're fairly heavily damaged, and not in great shape. Um, Rusty mentioned the cavalry charge by Sir Wynn and his axe wielding knights. That unit has effectively been destroyed, and the fate of Sir Wynn, as of yet, is unknown. A unit of Nymerian cavalry, our elite unit, has who was commanded originally by my brother Luke. He that unit has also been summarily destroyed. Luke has since taken over the cavalry unit that Sir Oris was commanding, and that unit of cavalry is from House Swan. There is also some damage on that unit of cavalry that Sir Luke is commanding. There is also some damage to the unit of cavalry that Reyna is commanding. And other than that, we're doing okay. So we have some injured cavalry, a few destroyed cavalry, and some injured infantry.
So for the record though, just remember that charge of the Tower Win Axemen could have been on the other side if you guys had not roleplayed so well on that daily visit. Those Axemen could have been working for the Vulture King instead. So even if they did kind of go in like a torpedo and then get deleted, like at least they killed 200 of the Vulture King's men instead of 200 of yours. Right? So, still good math. Still good math.
They went down like
Yeah, they went down swinging. So let's now check in with the Lady Felicia, who is playing the Lady Reyna. How's it going, Felicia? Connection working?
I I didn't know that it wasn't working before, so I kind of hope it's working now.
It's good.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I'm Felicia, and I play Lady Renan at Marion, and I'm the heir to the house, and I'm out here leading in a cavalry unit, and you know, doing stuff. But we took, I think it was arrows that gave us our damage. We took some uh, a volley from one of their archer units. I think it was.
Rude.
Huh?
I just tipped in and just said rude.
Rude. So rude.
Correct.
But my unit took 3 damage, and I personally took 1 hit point of damage, avoiding, like, you got to skip all the armor stuff. So I'm like, why am I wearing this shit?
Yeah, that's one of the downsides of attachment to a unit, is in the abstract, they're like, if the unit gets beat up, it's assumed that you get a little bit beat up. And yeah, the fact that it ignores armor has always felt a little bit off. Lots of small things feel a little bit off in this this battle mechanic. But overall, I think that it's working to show the difference between the much more professional troops of the Southern Coalition, who are also very NPC rich. Right, you guys have a lot of NPCs attached to a lot of units. I think just about every unit is getting that extra die from having a quality NPC leading and rallying and inspiring and goading or whatever. However, each of you are doing it. Almost every unit of yours has a full die over their opponents.
And that's on purpose. I mean, we deliberately built an alliance over here, and we deliberately tried to wreck theirs by taking out their sub bosses.
Yeah,
You know?
so I think it's playing out about like it should for the quality of troops and the fact that you guys then had a very busy week of trying to kind of declaw the Vulture King's forces. So we're griping about it a little bit because there's a lot of rough edges that could be smoothed off. But overall, I think it's getting the job done, and we're almost ready to get back in it.
So,
Before we
ask
do
something
that,
real quick before we start.
all right, go ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, House Nymerian, we weaponize friendship.
We
Well, because
weaponize
friendship is
friendship.
because friendship is magic. So
I heard that.
Two quick things having to do with today's date. One is it is Robert's name day. So everybody wish Robert a happy birthday. Yay!
Thank you, everybody.
If you look on the stream right now, there's a special image that has just been posted.
Love it.
Oh, very nice.
I'll take it.
Horse.
Brilliant.
I couldn't find one with that Nymerian hair, and I didn't have time to mess with it in like paint or something. But I'm like, it's a topless Game of Thrones character with a name day celebration. It's pretty perfect. We'll stick with that one.
I can do a lot worse.
Right? So, it just kind of looks like Robert instead of Lucaris. That's all. He's got the same hair. And there you go. So, happy birthday, Robert. Unfortunately, the other thing having to
Also,
do,
you can't kill a character whose player's birthday exists currently. That's a rule.
yeah, no, and I was never going to kill Sir Lucaris. I'm going to kill your older sisters so that you're suddenly thrust in the position of being heir to the house. I mean, that's been the planned arc all along.
What
The
kind of
sudden-
hell do you have planned?
Yeah, just the sudden crushing weight of responsibility and stuff.
No.
It's all right, Robert. Driftmark will be safe in my hands.
I wanted the easy job.
So the other news that we have. Felicia looks like she is frozen up again on my end.
She has,
Oh, no.
yes.
Yeah. So the other June news that we have is unfortunately less pleasant than it being Robert's name day, and that is that Felicia and I are moving in less than 2 weeks. We finally got everything lined up that we needed to get lined up to get the fuck out of this crappy apartment that we have had never-ending issues with. And we've got a house that we're going to start renting in a couple of weeks. The downside is that we're moving on the weekend that we should be playing this game. And we are just not going to be mentally, and if things go wrong getting the internet and the power and stuff set up, we might just also be physically incapable of running a game in a couple weeks. So what we're going to look into instead is going to be the junior Nymerian siblings, Bela, Lucaris, and Adam, as played by Erica, Robert, and Ash, might just kind of hang out and do a bit of a Q&A session and just kind of riff with you guys, answer questions, talk about the Game of Thrones TV show, talk about the books, talk about other games that they're playing, talk about favorite moments from the series, answer questions from viewers, just whatever crap kind of pops up. So in 2 weeks' time, instead of a full session, we're going to have the younger trio of Nymerian siblings and their players hang out and just kind of entertain viewers as best they can. So that's the plan there. We are actually going to be missing our first episode ever, I do believe. Because I remember we were all like, Christmas, psh, whatever. And like, I don't think
That's not a portion of the 7.
Right. And I think even with like Gen Con and Origins, I think it was all staggered enough that I'm not sure we missed last summer. We may have. I might have forgotten. But
I mean, there have been people who haven't made it to individual sessions, but there's never not been a session. Although we did have the time where we had to re-stagger, so we had like a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've never like full on missed a whole session.
yeah, so we're going to keep that from happening again. And we're just going to have a casual hangout session with the Nymerian siblings and or their players. And who knows? And if things go really well, maybe me and Felicia can crash the party. I just know that I'm not going to have the time to get ready to run stuff with the move prep we've got coming up. So,
If we really run out of stuff to talk about, I'll start reading my fan fiction.
You all will love it.
you will.
We're gonna turn that into a drinking game. It'll be fun time.
Oh, we so need a Sea of Spears drinking game.
So, with that out of the way, let's hope that in 2 weeks' time, when these players are hanging out, it will be a reflection of the cheerful drinking being done by House Nymerian as they celebrate the victory of their Southern Coalition against this nefarious or perhaps misguided or perhaps overreaching Vulture King, Sir Jonathor Sand. So,
That's good.
let's see. Anybody else have any last minute stuff that they want to talk about before we get kicked off here?
Which
Any?
side was I on? The left or the right? I thought it was on the right.
Yeah, from my notes, you are attacking on the right flank. Luke, and then Edric and Oris are attacking on the left flank. Sir Edwin's cavalry went more or less down the middle, but they were a little off to one side.
According to my notes, we were all on the left flank. Me and Raina and Oris's former men, but then Raina took off towards their infantry.
Yeah,
On the
so
left side, obviously.
Yeah, so she's moved off to the other side, but yeah.
Alright.
Overall, you guys have, the bulk of your cavalry attacking on flanks. Some cavalry went, the vanguard went kind of blood crazy and went right up the gut, which is probably going to happen. But yeah, you guys have cavalry fighting on the flanks. You've still got your archers protected in the middle. Both sides are lined up in pretty conventional Westerosi tactics style, with infantry and then archers and then reserves in the center and cavalry on either wing. So it's
For the
been a
record,
pretty conventional fight so far, and you guys are ahead.
For the record, over on our Sea of Spears Shadowcasters channel, over in Discord, the Discord chat thing, Robert posted a little battle map that he imagined Maester Ferris was scribbling up as it was happening, and it's really kind of cool. I kind of love that map. I don't even know why, Robert.
Yeah. Just consider a fan work. If I mess anything up, that's not official canon. It's not what Rusty's going off of. But yeah, either scroll up or I can post it again if anybody's in that channel.
There you go.
Yeah. So, without further ado, then, let's hand the camera and the spotlight off to the Lady Bela Nymerian, who is just about to pick up with, let's make sure we're getting the right step here. We are done with unit leader placement, parlay in terms, initiative. We have no siege weapons, which is step 5 of a fight. We have finished step 6 of the second round, which is first player actions. And we are starting with step 7, which is orders, which is where we're going to begin with the back and forth of Bela versus Jonathor Sand. So, Lady Bela, what is the first order of round 2 of the Battle of the Southern Coalition against the Vulture King?
First thing is archers getting to fire their arrows. So, Adam, continue firing.
Between.
All right, get your dice out, Adam. And I do believe that this was a volley of burning arrows, which is going to be pretty dope. And it's going to remove the mantlets that are in front of the archer, well, presumably archer unit that you're going to be shooting at.
Yeah.
Because
Hopefully.
they have one unit of archers that remain. So this is kind of our sniper duel of the day. Is the Red Rose, the Vulture Queen, overseeing her archers against young Adam the Archer of King's Landing fame. But the Vulture Queen brought some wicker mantlets that her troops were hiding behind that largely protected them from that first volley at the start. So let's see if these flaming arrows make the difference.
Yeah.
Either
At
way,
the
they're
very
gonna.
least, yeah, at the
Right?
very least, I'm hoping to set the mantlets on fire so that the next round will, they'll have less defense.
Yep. And I think what we were going with was if you completely flub the roll, like if you manage to roll all ones and twos, it's a clean miss, nothing happens. If you hit, or if you would have hit without the mantlet defense bonus, then we're going to say the flaming arrows hit the mantlets and the mantlets will be destroyed. So
Okay.
if it is a successful attack against the archers, then that's also going to overcome the mantlets. But also, if you miss by the 5 defense points that the mantlets give them, we're going to say that the arrows are hitting the mantlets, and if nothing else, those will get wrecked. So, what's our super ninja badass marksmanship roll looking like, Ash?
Well, because it's the unit, it's 4d6, keep 4, so it's actually less than if Adam was firing by himself. But hopefully it'll still be okay.
And is this with the +1 die for Adam being attached?
It is not.
So
There
roll
you go.
5, keep 4.
Roll
But
5,
it-
keep
it-
5.
Oh.
Yes. Except the extra one I rolled was rubbish. But
But still, it's +1 at least, right? So yeah,
that is 20 total.
20. All right, give me one
wait,
second.
hang on. Oh no, that's for a command check. Ignore me. Oh no, wait, hold on. If you're attached to the unit, you get +3 to the roll. Does that apply to this?
That's for the leadership discipline rolls. That's
okay.
for giving the orders.
Sure.
Which
Okay.
technically you were supposed to do before they shot, but the odds of you failing it are really, really low. So
No,
I'm
I
not
don't.
worried about
I don't think you need to do it if it's a continuation.
it. Yeah, so
Right.
I think we're fine. So that was a total of 20. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. They are combat defense 9. The mantlets make them combat defense 14. So a 20 is a hit and an extra degree of success. And
Excellent.
now I'm going to erase the mantlets.
Fuck those
Burn,
mantlets.
baby, burn.
So the mantlets are off,
Burn,
but
baby,
they were still there for that attack. So what is the base damage of that archer unit?
5.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and that much. All right. That unit is now disorganized.
Yes. Get
Because
ready.
that's the other thing with archers is that they're pretty fragile.
That's a big result.
Yeah, hopefully that won't come back to bite me.
Adam, that's a
All
big
right.
that's a big result because that's their elite group of archers that were
Yeah,
hitting
hopefully-
us pretty good.
Yeah, hopefully it'll also make it easier if any of you want to go and actually smash into them or anything. So, cool,
Oh, dramatic.
excellent. So
Yep.
yeah, things are on fire now. I'm happy.
Everything's on fire. Adam's a kitty boy.
Turns out we've awakened a new passion in young Adam the Archer. He's like, wait, it's not Oris I love, it's destruction.
It's fire.
Fire. Do, 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 do.
So to keep the camera there, and because this is the Red Rose, who is kind of a spiteful, vengeful creature, she's not going to organize her unit. She's going to order them to shoot instead, because she is not a strategic, tactical thinker. I'm
She's
just
just
gonna
a
have her
flaming bitch.
basically. She's just gonna go off the reservation here,
Red
and
hair.
while John Sand is trying to give orders, she's just gonna shriek for her men to shoot back, type of thing. So we're just gonna do a volley, and actually we're gonna do a volley right back at Adam the Archer
Oh, fuck.
instead of at who they were shooting at last time. Now-
It's really going to hurt our relationship if she kills my brother. I just want her to know that.
He's like, it's not a deal breaker, but I'll be upset.
But it's going to be a complication.
It's not gonna make the family like you more. Things will be awkward at Christmas. All right. So even with the disorganized penalty, she is able to handle that. And now, the actual shooting roll. Dun, 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 dun. And remember, this is a unit that you guys didn't. This was the leader you guys weren't able to defeat.
Yeah.
So this was the caliber of unit they
No,
potentially
we
had.
defeated her. She just ran away.
Sure.
Coward.
Her feet had nothing to do with it. She swept
Rusty, for my information that I might need it in the future, there's a penalty to trying to fight while disorganized, right?
Yes.
Okay.
While you're
I thought so.
disorganized, you get -1 die on all tests,
Okay.
and your discipline is increased. Like the difficulty to give orders is increased by 3.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just
Uh,
wanted to remember.
Yeah, so she is rolling the normal number of dice,
Mhm.
but she's keeping one less because anytime there's a -1d, that's how you keep one less die.
Yeah.
This is the die she's not keeping. So it lost her a pip, and let's see, because this was actually a pretty decent roll.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, well, it's too late for that now. You guys had a chance to make a good first impression, and you didn't.
Dang it.
I blame Luke.
Yeah.
Because Robert's not
Okay.
here.
Well, I don't know.
He's
He
wanting
did
to
what he
defend
normally
himself.
does, and like he approached her naked, right? Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's his standard starting
It
move.
usually
who
works.
knows why women wouldn't like that?
Oh god, now I'm just imagining him kind of going up like.
I may have come on a little strong and naked.
Well, 60% of the time it works every time, right, Luke?
That's right. Yeah, Sex Panther. Yeah.
All right, and I've got defense rating 7 for the archers. Is that correct?
Yes, that's also what I have.
All right.
Wait, no. Oh no, that's
I
discipline. I don't
thought
have
you
our
guys
defense
had.
button.
I thought you guys had some defensive works for like a +1, and I don't
Yeah, we
remember
got-
what units you gave that to.
Oh, it would have been the archers.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've got like the note that I got sent said archers have +1 defense, but their base defense isn't in there. I've only got their base discipline
Okay.
and the base
Um,
damage.
So yeah, like I said, I thought it went to the archers. I wasn't sure. So
Yeah.
the good news is that +1 defense compared to their roll actually just cost them a degree of success.
Hey.
So between the single pip that was lost by having to drop a die, and then the single point of extra defense, this cost this archer unit a degree of success against you guys. The bad news is that you guys are still taking, 1 second, make sure I'm looking at the base damage of the right unit. Yeah, agility +2. So yeah, you guys are still taking 12 points of damage,
Yikes.
which you've got armor 2 on those units, so that's 10 points going through. You guys are now disorganized, so it was a murderous volley back and forth. Both sides lose, maybe a fifth or a fourth of their number to these uncannily accurate, flurries of arrows from what might just be the most lethal units on the field. And it looks like so far round 2 is a stalemate. Dun dun dun.
Uncle
Go back to
Oberyn,
Bela.
loose those arrows.
All right, the Red Viper of Dorne, Prince Oberyn Martell, and his archer unit are going to continue firing. Who are they shooting at, Erica?
The same target, and
All
I
right.
would like to let Adam roll this.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's going to be marksmanship 3 with an extra die from Uncle
Should be the
Oberyn.
same dice
So-
pool.
Okay. Fuck's sake. Right. So I just like 2 of my dice just
Just
rolled
took off.
off.
It's what
Yeah.
dice do, right?
That's 19.
Good.
Nice. All right, and against their defense, ba. Right. Got that. I got that. The mantlets are gone. Because, like, even if the mantlets haven't burned up yet, like, they don't want to huddle behind a mantlet that's in the middle of burning up. Right? So it's
It'd
kind
be
of a
difficult.
mixture of the destruction and just the unit being disorganized away from the mantlets, yada yada. So that's gone, and they're just using that combat defense. With that, they are officially routed. So now they are from disorganized to routed,
Nice.
Nice.
which is the next step on the way to destroyed. Um, yeah, like I said, the smarter move would have been to organize that unit, but I felt like the vengeful bandit move was to go down shooting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what
So
they do.
there is that. Which then brings us back to the Vulture King side of things. Let's try that. All right, we've got
Oh no, not that.
Never that.
we've got an
Anything
NPC
but
leader
that.
on that's actually not terribly far from that unit. So he is going to try and give a rally order to reorganize that unit. He is not a very good leader. He's no Balin Imerian or Jonathor Sand. So 1 second as I double check the discipline here. They are a very good unit of archers though. So there's that. Second, as I'm double checking, I know it's a +3 if you're disorganized. I don't know if there's an extra discipline difficulty for being routed. I'm not seeing one. I think it's just the +3 for being disorganized. So routed, I don't see that. Formation changes. I don't see anything else about discipline. So that unit of archers has been rallied. You hear a horn blowing. Lisa, what are you doing?
I'm trying to show Locke what we're up to today, since he
Okay.
decided to come see us.
Like, are we supposed to be able to read that? Because we can't.
I could in the Twitch channel. It's
Okay. Okay. So that unit of archers is now back down to disorganized.
Elia, loose arrows.
You hear back a shrill, "You're not the boss of me."
Okay.
Not really, but you know. And actually, you hear her yelling and cursing and goading her men into better, with that teenage girl, "You want to impress me, don't you?" type of "I'm a sand snake" swagger going on. So she's not like leading and inspiring her men. Her men aren't the same flavor of scared of her that they are. Like, nobody wants to disappoint Prince Oberyn Martell. But yeah, so she's shrieking encouragement at them. Her horse is like doing those tight circles of like when a horse like really wants to be charging and you're jerking on the reins to keep it from running off. Like, she's fighting the urge to go, racing people down, but a flurry of arrows will go flying. Ash, you want to roll for those archers also?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah,
Since I
and
seem
that
to be
way,
rolling okay.
and if you roll poorly, then Elia can blame it on you.
She's gonna do that anyway.
Just be like, "I know
Yeah.
it's your fault somehow, Adam."
And then I'll push her into a hedge or something. Yeah. So how many dice we talking?
Same as
Same.
last time.
Cool. Oh, that's okay. Right. That is 16. Not terrible.
All right. They are
We're all
routed
getting slightly
again.
worse.
Yeah, that's enough. Like, they're reforming and they're trying to start shooting again. And then another swarm of arrows rains down onto them. As you hear, the Red Rose, she's just yelling in the distance, and like she's shooting still, and and then you hear that hunting horn blowing, and they're just not able to completely get their feet under them. So that will do it for your order. Let's go over here to we're gonna swap over to the right flank here as Swift Saren takes an order on behalf of the Vulture King. And he is going to organize his unit of skirmishy Dornish cavalry here. And that is more than enough to do it. So, they are... I can't just delete the word disorganized from my notes, because they do still take a penalty after you get reorganized. So I'm like, oh, no, wait, I deleted that. I need to clean that up again. All right, so you see the nimbly-pimbly Dornish cavalry on the right flank that were milling around kind of aimlessly, swarm themselves back together again. They're on the right and prepare to rejoin the battle.
Okay.
And we bounce it back over to Bela.
All right. I'm trying to remember what cavalry I have on my right flank.
I think it's just Reyna.
Reyna? No, there was another one I sent over there. I think it was the other Bridington cavalry with Sir Miles.
And Sir Miles over there? Okay.
Yeah, so those are the two over there. I'll have Sir Miles send his cavalry to intercept.
So to charge back into that skirmishy Dornish cavalry?
Yes.
All right, 1 second then. He will leadership roll. That is your green unit of cavalry, right? But like they're still cavalry.
That's
They're
correct.
pretty good. Still, yeah, pretty decent discipline. So yep, that is good enough. All right, he successfully gives the order to charge. Bela, you want to roll this attack? Or rather,
Yeah.
we'll just do this. Bela, who do you want to roll this attack?
Oh, we'll let Luke Harris roll this. You will have.
Okay.
Let me just count this up. 6 dice, keep 4.
Okay, let's do it. I see some 5s. I got a 20.
All right.
Good.
20
Yeah, I got
against
4 5s in there.
this unit, which is combat defense. That. 1 second. All right, and base damage
5.
is 5, right? Yeah. So 1 second. That'll be. That'll be. They are once again disorganized. So they're just milling around. They get back into a battle-ready formation. They start to ready their lances and stuff. And then here come a couple dozen House Nymerian knights, trained by Sir Adam Bridington, who has lived his whole life in the saddle. And they just come smashing into these lighter armed and armored Dornish horseback skirmishers. And once again, the unit falls to chaos. All right, let's go back over here then. And we'll handle that. All right, Sir Alfric, the Vulture King's right-hand man, has a routed unit that he is trying to recover. The good news is, for him, they are a unit of knights, and he is pretty good at this. So they are now rallied. And just a quick bookkeeping note. The disorganized and reorganized and disorganized unit the Dornish cavalry that you guys just finished with, they're now at a -2 on things. So each time they get disorganized and reorganized, that happens. So it's kind of like a wound in that the penalty sticks around, and if they are disorganized and reorganized and disorganized enough times, they count as destroyed. So it is still bad for them. But you do also see that unit of knights that's in that swarming melee over there on the flank with Edric Dane and the Knights of Starfall, and Sir Lucaris and the Swan Cavalry. That unit is rallying around their leader, Sir Alfric, and they are forming up. And back to Bela.
Okay. Let's go with Sir Lucaris himself, who's over there around that unit that is rallying up. And let's
I'd like to very much hit them.
disorganize them again.
My pleasure. This is the guy who ran down my troops, so let's return the favor. What are the dice on that unit? Because I didn't have them recorded.
Yes. Let's see. Let's see. You
They're fight 3 and my
yeah. So
it'll be
roll 7, keep 4.
yeah.
Okay, I see less 5. Let's see what I got here. See, I'm keeping 2 5s, a 6, and a 3, so that's going to be a 19. Yeah, we as I kind of gather the troops up, we aim right towards them before they can reorganize and hit as hard as we can.
Sorry, I had a video buffering pop up over on Twitch. Well, I was also trying to take part in chat. A 19 against that unit. Base damage is 5 again, right? The animal
6
handling
this
3.
time.
Or okay, yeah, they had a
Their animal handling is one better.
yeah, right, because they're not green, they're trained. So damage 6. They are once again disorganized.
Making good progress here.
Yep. So you guys are keeping the pressure on. Your knights are swirling in among them, and it's just a messy, bloody fight of heavy armored Westerosi cavalrymen trading blows.
It's a little personal over on the left flank.
Yeah.
We've been.
Oh, it's just he yelled out my name when he originally charged my group. I'll yell out his name.
Yeah, because like he was trying not to. It wasn't like a backstab.
Yeah. He was just.
It was
being
it was a
direct.
nightly charge thing. So we'll say you two are kind of carving your way towards each other, nice and dramatic, that type of thing.
You okay, Felicia?
Oh, he just rolled herself off the couch.
Is she okay?
It's fine.
Check on her, monster. Don't laugh at her.
I would fall.
She learned that from her mama.
I'm sorry. She doesn't ever do stuff like that, so.
I don't think you are sorry, since you're laughing at her. All right. Still on the left flank. We're gonna try and keep the action where the action is, and we're gonna have their. We'll have a unit of those guys go rushing in. A bandit unit from their reserves is gonna go charging into that swirling melee of knights over there. They've got they're a bunch of Dornishmen with spears and stuff, so they're feeling it, and they are going to
bold.
go rushing in, while the Well, it's charge the knights or get charged by the knights, right? So they're like,
Okay.
yeah, whatever.
All right.
You know, it's like
Either
I'd
way,
rather.
knights will be
Yeah.
here.
So let's see, because there is currently there's the Swan Cavalry and the Knights of Starfall that are over there. So give me a second. I'm gonna randomly see. Okay, this is an attack on the Cavalry of House Swan, because in the fluff it's just kind of 3 units of knights all swirled together. So I was like, let's randomize which one they're technically attacking in terms
Oh.
of Edric's unit or Lucaris's, and they're attacking Lucaris's.
I forgot I'm using my sister's boyfriend's soldiers.
Yep.
That's right, you are.
Treat them well.
All right.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying, kinda. You guys are combat defense 2, is that correct?
4.
Yeah, 4.
All right. So
He rolled
one second.
57.
That will be 3 degrees of success.
Oof.
Noise.
That
Armored.
is
9 armor here.
what is there?
9 armor.
Oh, 1 second. I forgot that they were also doing something else. This particular unit. Making sure I have the right damage code for them. Yep. Okay. So that will be math. 15 points of damage to that cavalry unit.
Oof.
So armor rating 9. So 6 points will get through.
So they are disorganized exactly now.
They're what? 9 out of 9? Is that the total?
They have 12 max health, but they'd already
Okay.
taken 6. So 6 more than exactly hits that threshold.
Right. Which is 2 points of damage ignoring armor on Sir Lucaris.
Okay, I'll add that in. I know Luke's got a few bumps so far.
And let's make a note for myself that like those guys have charged up there. So all right. And yeah, this is a ragged ass unit of like Dornish raider, brigand, bandit types.
Let's see. I had 10. I have a total of 12 totally. It's 12 of 12. I'm still up. I can take any more, or is that knocked out?
That
At 0 you would be out. So you've got to take
Okay.
an injury or something.
Yeah, I'll take an injury then to basically absorb that damage.
Yeah, so about 100 howling Dornishmen come rushing up in the fluff, like they're throwing a volley of spears as they close, and then stabbing. You know, there's little war javelins that you guys have seen the bandits constantly use. There's kind of this volley of those that send a bunch of horses, you know, rearing up and shrieking in pain, and they weigh down shields and distract you. And then suddenly there are spearmen all in this swirling melee of knights, and they're stabbing upwards at everybody and doing a number on folk.
At some point during this, I guess a spear gets through his armor and defenses and wounds him a little bit, or injures him. Make sure you use the right proper term.
Yeah. All right, and then we're back over to Erica on the House Nemarian side of things.
okay. Let's see. I think I will have the other cavalry that's there from House Dane go and try to eliminate those interlopers that came in and tried to interject themselves into that swirling combat.
All right, so the Knights of Starfall are going to fight some raiders. Who do you want to roll for that one? It's kind of your call.
Let's let Robert get some vengeance for taking some injuries there.
What other stats?
These ones are better than what we had been using, so you're going to roll 9 and keep 5.
Jeez.
The Knights of Starfall aren't the fuck around unit.
They are not.
No, they aren't. And will be anybody fucking around with any of them or their allies' hearts.
Get him.
All right, Stein, keep happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's keep happening out of 9.
Oh, I keep 5.
Okay, these guys fucking can roll.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I like, yeah. Like these guys,
27.
sorry? Is that
27.
27? Okay. So, these guys are raiders. They have endurance 3. They've got, like, scrabbled together ring mail. So they are combat defense 5, armor rating 5, health 9. You just rolled a 27 with a damage of animal handling plus 5. So
Yeah.
you've got a base damage
9.
of 9. So, yeah, these guys are destroyed. The Knights of Starfall wheel and spin, and their horses lash out with steel-shod hooves, and the riders with their lances and swords, led by young Edric Dane, whose voice breaks as he screams, "Starfall!" at the top of his little lungs, and it is returned by dozens of knights, including some from the House Swan there in the middle, since your units are kind of all mingled up.
Oh yeah,
Right
Starfall.
there. Yeah, so you've got these.
And they
you know,
pull the spear out of my side. Starfall.
So yeah, you've got these paragons of the Stormlands and of Dorne battling side by side, and in a matter of moments, those infantry have realized their mistake, and the scattered remnants of them are streaming away. So not too bad. Let's then take a look. What else is on the left flank that we want to toss into that meat grinder?
We're rapidly running out of units on the left flank.
Well, they've got some left.
Oris was over there fighting those guys, I think, or was it another group of guerrillas?
Oris is kind of off the left flank.
Bathed a line for the
yeah. Like because they had a unit of guerrillas over there that ambushed you guys, that he nominally one shot. But we're gonna say he's chasing them down on horseback for a while, so Oris is AFK for a bit, because killing
He's
100 men in 60 seconds is a
100 of them.
little bit silly for a low magic setting. He's not riding a fucking dragon, right?
Yeah, you'd have to swing 2 times a second almost.
Yeah.
Every swing in death blow.
So that's why we're just gonna say Oris is chasing them down, and those guerrillas are rethinking their life choices and are functionally off the edge of the map in wargame terms, right? Instead of Oris killing them all, he's just kind of chasing them.
But that was a distinct set of guerrillas from the ones that just got charged, right? Okay.
Yeah. Those were raiders. The raiders that just charged got
I
destroyed. This is me taking stock on the left flank. So they do have a unit of peasant reserves back there behind Mantlets. But they do also have a unit of infantry still on the left and the center. And those infantry are standing their ground to protect the archers and the peasant reserves behind them. So those infantry are not going to attack. They are following their orders to hold the battle line and, do their thing. So the infantry on the left flank aren't going to, but there is a unit of criminals on the left flank that
I love that's a
are
military unit.
going to. Yep. I figured I couldn't make these guys all infantry and stuff. I'm like, let's toss in some raiders and some criminals and some, you know, and in the abstract, the units all largely look alike. It's not 100 men with the exact same stuff, but yeah.
But all I'm picturing now are guys in white and black striped suits.
Yeah,
and,
like they all just
chains, balls and chains on their legs.
that they're wielding like morning stars now or
They
flails.
turned into morning stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
very
all
clever
right,
of them.
these guys. All right, the passive awareness of that flank, because I should have rolled this earlier. That is gonna do it. I don't think any of the units anywhere near them even have awareness as an attribute, because that's only archers. So we're gonna say these guys are able to successfully ambush. That's the stealth roll. Now let's try the actual ambush order, and this is where it gets kind of funny, because criminals have a discipline modifier of +6, and the ambush order is an extra +3. So let's see if
You're not the
Jonathan
boss
or
of me.
Stan, right? They're like, we're actually really awful at shanking people from surprise. Even though that's what we are built for, since we have endurance, fighting, and stealth.
I won't do what you
turns out
told
they're
me.
actually
I
not
love
good.
stabbing people, but if you tell me to do it, I'm
Right,
not
yeah,
going
like
to just
that.
because you told me to.
Yeah, my boss. So 1 second. They are looking for. All right, no, you got it. All right. So the ambush is successful.
Oh.
All right, we'll shake
Still
him
has-
this time.
Yeah, but not because you told me to. You're not my
You
real
want
dad.
to?
So let's do evens odds again, because there's the Knights of Starfall and there is the Swan Cavalry over there.
Oh boy, Luke could sure appreciate somebody else taking some damage.
All right, it is the Knights of Starfall. This time they rolled 4. So 1 second. They are. All right, fighting 4. The ambush gives you +2
These are very
damage.
skilled criminals.
And when you're ambushed, you lose your awareness from combat defense. So they will be defense 2 against a 4-die attack that comes up all 4s and 5s. So 1 second here. That is a 19 against defense 2. Is going to be 4 degrees of success. Criminals have a base damage of athletics +2, so that'd be 4. But it is an
Not bad.
ambush, so their damage is 6. So that is
Hmm.
24 points of damage on the Knights of Starfall.
Oh no.
They
Whoa.
are armor rating 9. Is that correct, Erica?
Yeah, so they're disorganized.
Yeah. So as they are trampling those small folk spearmen raiders, a nearby unit lunges up from out of hiding, and a fresh wave of javelins and spears slams into that swirling mass of steel and horse flesh. And for the record, they also just did 2 points of damage to Edric Dane. So if anybody wants to throw tack nukes at that unit of criminals, they hurt
Yes.
your new cinnamon bun. So there you go.
They hurt my homeboy, Edric.
They hurt
Okay.
Edric.
My
He took
boy,
2
man.
points of damage that his armor did not help him with. So I'm just saying, everybody needs to murder them.
Yes.
And we
Right.
go back over to Bela
Um,
as I try to pick up a die without falling out of my chair.
Sir Garrus, attack those ambushers.
Those damn criminals.
Yep.
Well, I can't tell they're
Alright.
criminals from where I'm leading from.
They're wearing the white suits with the black stripes.
Oh, okay.
They all have
Oh.
a number on them.
They have the green armbands.
I only know about the prison complex from like cartoons. Sorry.
All
like
right.
That's the thing
DuckTales.
What about?
So, Sir Garrus has a unit of trained Drinkwater Infantry. We want to let Felicia roll this one.
Yes.
She hasn't
This
gotten
is
to
where
roll
they
anything
betray
yet.
us.
So, all right. This is going to be fighting 3 plus 1 because they are led by the gallant Sir Garrus. So it's going to be roll 4, keep 4.
Mediocre.
It happens.
12.
All right. Against
I mean,
these
literally
guys.
mediocre.
These guys are combat defense 6. So that is an extra degree of success. Base damage on those guys is 4. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yes, it is.
Right? So that'll be 8 points damage. These criminals are armor rating 1. So they're going to take 7. That gets them to 2 health. So they have been damaged, but not quite enough to disorganize them.
Okay.
But yes, with a roar, Sir Garrus Drinkwater leads his infantry forward eagerly, and you actually see like he starts the charge by removing his helmet and like flinging it ahead of them, like for them to try and keep up. So you see his streaming blonde hair as he leads the charge, and his men go chasing that helmet and slam into the light infantry of the Vulture King, as the swirling melee on the left flank grows bloodier and bloodier.
Okay, I'm
Nice.
about 40% sure he's not going to betray us now.
40%.
He
I
did
mean-
attack some like very light
That's up
units.
20.
Like he could have been attacking, I don't know, that unit of Swan Cavalry with Lucaris attacked with an ambush bonus for +2 damage, and then just been like, yeah, I don't know, Dornish Spearman did it.
That got
Yeah.
the 40%. Yeah,
Yeah.
not doing that got the 40%.
So, left flank. What are we doing? All right, we've got.
Everything.
What else have they got on the left? They've still got peasants behind mantlets, but John Sand is not in a hurry to order the peasants out from their defensive stuff. They've got infantry holding the line.
Are we gonna let the peasants run away?
Damn it, Garnathor sacrificed peasants so we can have the moral high ground.
Yeah, like you notice that they have, like, the units that got mantlets were their archers and their peasants, which you know are not their most, necessary and valuable units here. But it looks like they wanted to, help those guys out a little bit. All right, we do have that unit of knights on that flank, but they organized. Also, another rules quirk that I can't find. I don't think a unit can get more than 1 order a turn. So, like, if you organize them, I don't think they can attack later. I can't find that anywhere in the book, but that's what I've been doing.
That was my assumption too, but I don't think it actually says that anywhere.
Yeah, and bless you, Ash.
Yeah.
Is it not? I always
Not
thought that was
not
the
that I
case.
can find. Like, that's how we're doing it.
I don't recall reading it anywhere. Maybe. But
Like, I wouldn't mind as another potential house rule down the road. Maybe a unit can rally and then get a second order. If it comes, like, that could maybe be an exception. So a unit can only.
If you look at the little reference sheet thing on orders, it says that the commander gives 1 order to his troop, and then the other side gives a single order. This goes back and forth. Once a commander has run out of orders to give, his sub-commanders give orders.
Oh, well, we've been doing that different too, but whatever, it's fine. We've been letting sub-commanders go in the middle, but that still doesn't address, can a unit get more than 1 order?
This is 1 order. I don't know. It doesn't actually say.
yeah,
I
no.
Right, that's what
It
we
was
said.
rusty. I also assumed it was 1, but I don't recall it saying that anywhere.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, why wouldn't you just give the elite archers all of your orders to shoot,
Right. Yeah.
right? But yeah,
I
so I
think
don't think it's,
just knowing
I don't-
game systems kind of trained us to assume one action unless otherwise stated.
Yeah. So I do think, though, in the future, another potential house rule might be you can reorganize and then still get another order as an exception to that. But as it is, the units of knights that they've got on the left flank, they're just organized enough to keep getting disorganized. So we're going to jump over to the right flank. I think we're going to go to the other extreme here because they don't seem to be investing anything more in the left flank. So Jonathan Sand will raise his sword arm and gesture with it after circling it overhead, and he points, and their unit of Dornish cavalry on the right flank comes charging in at Rhaena Nymerion's unit.
Oh no, not the unit. Very vulnerable area.
All right, the good news is they did not roll very well. The bad
Good.
news is they're cavalry, so they get to drop a bunch of those dice because it's animal handling. So that's still going to be a decent total for them.
Fuck you.
I mean, not with that attitude.
One
That
hit.
is a 17 to hit you.
Defense 6. I believe.
So 3 degrees of success. Their damage is lots. That is 24 points of damage coming at Rhaena's cavalry unit.
Okay,
Cavalry
so,
are dangerous in this game.
they'll be disorganized from that hit.
How much is that total? 24 after the armor or defense or whatever?
It's 24 before armor.
Yeah.
18 plus the 3 from before is 21.
Sounds right. So yeah, you guys are at 0 and are now disorganized.
Yeah.
Which is 2 points of damage through your armor. As, yes, a couple dozen knights come slamming into the flank of your unit, running pell-mell with the very best equipment that the Vulture King could muster up. Gives us back to Bela.
Okay. I would like to have Lord Dondarrion come to the rescue of Rhaena by
Oh,
charging
boy.
his cavalry over.
Awesome.
Let's go ahead and let Rhaena roll that.
I get to roll for my own rescue.
You're a strong, independent woman. Don't need no man.
I'll take the help. Okay, what
But
am I
his knights will be useful.
Yeah, so this will be
One person.
a roll 7, keep 4 dice.
Let's go ahead and add 1 to the total when you're done rolling.
The
Add a 1.
the emotional
The
bonus.
different NPCs all had secret
Holy
objectives
fuck.
that they got +1s on if it happened. So like Sir Edwin Wynn being the first charge on your side, they got a +1 on that. So there's been a few little times like that, and this happens to be Lord Barrick fighting alongside her for the first time. Gets a +1 on it,
How many
Aw.
am I keeping?
keeping 4.
So
25.
romantic.
I rolled 4 6s.
Nice.
Then like 2 2s and a 3. But the important thing
All right.
is
Yeah, that's
That
really good.
is 5 degrees of success. Damage 6, is that correct?
Yes.
For that unit? So 30 points damage.
sweet.
Wow.
That's 21 points of damage after armor, which means they will not be destroyed. But they are definitely disorganized.
Oh,
All
Rusty,
this
we just got a
organized
nice handy
whack.
tip by Walk the Decker in chat.
Yeah, Locke found it. I think I'm still gonna keep it what we've been doing, if that's cool with you, Erica, of just each unit goes once. Because to me,
Yeah.
the downside of that is that it just means like I'll get a unit of veteran knights and they're gonna act like 5 times because why wouldn't I? Right? Like it feels weird
Yeah.
to
I
But
figure,
I mean, if,
like, so for me, I like it where each unit can make like one attack during the round, and then after,
Yeah.
either before or after that, or throughout the round, you can give them as many other orders, like for formations, rallying, all these other things that you want. It's
But
so
yeah,
long as you
so
have
it's like-
orders out to give, right? Because there's that action economy of
Yeah.
how many total
I
orders
like
you
that.
have.
I mean, like, I kind of think increasing the difficulty each time kind of seems like a good enough limit on that, because like going up difficulty 3 each time, like
Adds
even
up
with a
fast.
good warfare, even with like a good warfare score, that's gonna get like by like after like you've given a few of those orders, that's gonna get really difficult.
it does to an extent, but I do like the idea of just one attack, basically, like one attack or trample order, and then other stuff is allowed at the +3, because like I said, it's another thing that cavalry are kind of crazy with, in that,
Yes.
like, you know, a veteran unit of cavalry with a character attached are literally going to start with negative discipline difficulties, and like you could give them a good like 3-4
Mhm.
orders before you're, you know, needing like a 6 or a 9, right?
Yeah,
So and
yeah,
then
I
it
agree.
makes them even more the really dumb good, right? So yeah, good looking there though, Locke. You get 5 XP, Locke. Good job.
Yes.
Um, so that was Lord Beric Dondarrion leading the Knights of Blackhaven in a cavalry charge and cutting his way through some Dornish knights, so that he and the Lady Reyna like have their horses like side by side, like facing opposite directions, and they're like shielding each other's flank and hacking away in this swirling battle on the right flank. And we're gonna keep the action on that right flank, as John Sand uses an order to the unit of guerrillas on the right flank.
I knew it was,
Ooh.
like, it's gonna happen. Just win.
They had a bunch of light little skirmishy dudes. That is a successful ambush. So, in the tall grasses on the far right flank, let's do a volley of war javelins. So 1 second, that is marksmanship 4. And I think the only 2 units over there are the Knights of Blackhaven and Reyna's Knights, right? Like
Yes.
those are the 2 friendlies in that melee. I'm going to evens odds it again. Do you want evens or odds to be your unit, Felicia?
Odd.
You rolled even, so good job. You got your boyfriend attacked.
God damn it. There was no answer.
There was no right answer. The only winning move was not to play. So that's going to be 4 dice coming at them.
I almost turned off the camera just to be an ass.
They're going to be combat defense 2 because they lose their awareness to this, because it's that. Okay. That is not a stellar roll, but it's probably enough. That's a 12, so it's going to be 3 degrees of success. Guerrillas do agility +1 at this range. 3, it's going to be 12. Oh, sorry, it's base damage 5 because of the ambush. So 15 points of damage going into Lord Beric's cavalry unit. So that's going to be 6 after armor.
Yep.
I think that's the first damage they've taken.
That's correct.
It is.
So It's some damage, but it's not a disorganization or a rout or anything like that, because that was a
Mhm.
pretty mediocre roll. So that could have got a lot worse. But yeah, the Vulture King is showing his hand on either flank with a few more units from hiding, uh, revealing themselves to try and damage your knights.
Okay. I am going to use my first personal order to attempt to organize Reyna's cavalry.
All right,
You do it for
let's
me?
give that rally roll.
I don't know what the roll is. I don't know what the difficulty change is for it.
Let's see. Reyna has a unit of trained. Um, so that's.
Well, I have a
cavalry.
16, so that's probably enough, no matter what.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. That is definitely enough.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
roll
yeah,
warfare against the unit's discipline.
yeah.
So-
The base discipline of a trained unit is 6, but they're cavalry, which knocks it down to a 3, um, and they're disorganized, which knocks it back up to a 6. But yeah, rolling a 15 solves a great many problems in this game. So, yeah, Bela is able to.
That
I
gets
don't know.
them some health back, though, doesn't it? Because they're not.
Oh, sorry. I thought were they disorganized, or were you just doing the health one? My bad.
Oh, they are disorganized. So I wanted to
Yeah,
make
so
them
you-
not disorganized. So that just
Yes,
sets them
so
what at
you-
0.
Yes, it puts them back to like organized and at 0 health. Um, but then they still keep the -1 die.
Yeah.
That penalty from being disorganized, they do lose the +3 difficulty from being disorganized. But you keep the -1 kept die,
Gotcha.
kind of like a wound penalty. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're able to kind of rally as the Knights of Blackhaven bear the brunt of that fresh attack, and Lord Beric Dondarrion shields the Lady Reyna and the Knights of House Bridington, your loyal bannermen, are able to rally back around the heir to House Nymerian, uh, and shield themselves, etc., etc.
Okay.
Let's see here. Also on the right flank. No, they're basically out. They've just got peasants. They've got that. Those guys already went. Their infantry aren't moving. Those guys have reorganized and been disorganized again. Those guys just got disorganized. He's gonna reorganize that unit of knights that Lord Beric charged into. That's gonna be his, for the record, this is his last personal command. So after this, Erica, it's gonna be you going like 8 times or whatever.
Okay.
In 1 second. That is enough. So that unit of knights is reorganized. So even as the cavalry of House Bridington are kind of reforming their formation and getting their shields and swords at the ready, so is this opposing unit of knights. Though they're now outnumbered 2 to 1, they are gamely reorganizing themselves and getting ready to go back into the fray.
Okay. So we have a lot of other things here to still go through. Reyna, your cavalry, would you like to attack those knights? Actually, I'm telling you, attack those knights.
That's better. I will
He's like,
do
I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
I don't want to do that.
Like, all right, but not because you're telling me to.
Dang.
Well,
Not
let's
this
do
again.
this, the smart thing to do. Now, I haven't rolled for my unit at all today, so I don't even remember what I roll. I think it's 4.
No, it's going to be 7, keep 4.
These are the same
Because-
dice I just rolled like awesome for with Barrick, and now let's see what it does for me.
Well, and actually, it's going to be
4.
It's going to be
Keep
7,
three.
keep 3, because you're down a die from
Down a
the,
die.
Yeah.
the stuff. But the base is 7, keep 4.
Oh! 18,
All right, that's not too bad for 3 dice.
right? And
I
2 5s
guess.
and 2 2s. So that's a pretty darn good roll,
I mean, that's 3 6s.
right?
All right, 1 second. That unit is damage 6 by my notes.
Yep.
These guys are combat defense that. You're sitting on an 18 right now.
Yep.
Hey, chat, what do you say? Should the Lady Reyna get a secret +1 for fighting alongside Lord Beric Dondarrion? If she also had a secret +1 hiding up her sleeve, that's another degree of success on this attack roll. So the first non-player to answer in chat, should Reyna get the +1, yes or no, will decide.
Non-players.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let just Felicia go like, yeah, she should totally get it. All right,
Give her
bad
extra
nug.
speed too.
Bad Nug to the rescue. So that makes it a 19, which is enough for an extra degree of success against this unit, which with a base damage of 6 is kind of a lot. That makes it 4 degrees of success, 24 points damage. Their armor makes it 15. And even after armor, they are disorganized once again.
Nice.
Okay.
So they're losing several more of their knights in this swirly melee as the Lady Reyna cuts one down, and her forces surge up around her and Lord Beric, and they push the enemies back a bit more. That unit is now sucking some real penalties. And unfortunately for the forces of freedom and anarchy in Dorne, as I mentioned last time, that was the last order on the Vulture King's side, that last order that he gave. Because again, you guys killed several lieutenants, and you guys had more just to start with. So the ball is still in Bela's court as the hurt
Friendship.
keeps on coming.
All right. Would we like to have our guerrillas on the right side engage their guerrillas on the right side? Because I'm thinking that's what I want to do.
Push the ambushers? Yes.
Yeah. That seems like a very Dornish thing to do.
The ambush
Doesn't
roll
it?
is fairly difficult though. Is it a +3?
+3. But Bela's not bad at this sort of thing. I'm going to say Bela's got to roll this one.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
we've
we
got
have no
like a
leader.
friendly NPC.
Okay, yeah, I have a 16.
That will do it. Well, I think because gorillas are what?
9.
Yeah, there's like a +3. Yeah, so that's not bad. You only needed that. Yeah, so you are good to go.
Okay.
That is enough to successfully ambush.
Let's have
So that means
Ash
you'll
roll
get
for these gorillas. They're gonna attack with their spears, like the throw. They're gonna throw at them.
yeah. So your swarm of Dornish war javelins getting hauled out and yeeted at the enemy. These guys are going to be combat defense 7 against this attack. Because it's any sort of surprise thing, they lose their awareness from defense. So, they're normally combat defense 7, they're combat defense 5 against this attack. And the guerrillas roll
Marksmanship
what, Erica?
3.
It's going to be 3, keep 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's everything. Yeah.
Yep. 3 dice, keep 3. They don't have an attached leader or anything cool, but
That is 14.
all right.
That's a good roll.
That is currently going to be 2 degrees of success.
They get +2 to damage.
Yeah, but their damage is going to go up by 2. Give me 1 second, because their damage is 4, so it's going to be damage 6.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be 12 points of damage right now. is not quite enough. As an aside, Erica, since I know you've still got one of those bonus destiny point things from Ash's decipher rolls,
Yep.
and because this is, he had his guerrillas set up in a classic ambush position, so you could say very easily that this is what you were saving your guerrillas for, yada, yada, yada. If you can add 1 to that attack roll, that's enough for another degree of success, and that's enough to destroy that unit of guerrillas. So that's the math that I was double checking. So
Okay.
that
I forgot. I
that's
forgot
where
all
you're
about
at.
those fourth ones.
Yeah. So if you've got a bonus left to use here, Erica, if you can just add that, and make that roll a 15 instead of a 14, that would be
Okay.
enough to finish these guys off instead of disorganizing them.
Yeah, then let's use that remaining bonus from before the battle.
Okay. And that is, so Ash, what were your 3 dice? Like, did you already pick them up, or did you leave them?
Well, I put them back down. It was 2 6s and a 2, so it was 14 total.
Okay, so basically you're now adding 1 bonus die to this roll. So as
Okay.
long as that die comes up a 3 or better, you're replacing the 2 and turning it into a higher roll.
It was a 1.
Oh.
All right.
Sorry.
You can spend an actual destiny point, Bela, to keep an extra die on that roll, which would let you keep the 1 and would turn it into the 15. I'm not
Oh,
trying
I
to go like sunken cost fallacy here. It's just
Oh, no, it's
because
cool.
you're close to wiping them out, I'm
No,
reminding
it's-
you of the option.
No, it's cool. I mean, like, it was my crappy roll, and I think I've got 4 destiny points, so can I spend one of my destiny points?
I'm gonna say no, because this isn't even Adam's unit or one of the archers right next to him.
Oh,
Like, this
right.
gorilla's pretty far away. Like, if it was for Prince Oberyn or Cousin Elia's unit, I'd probably let Adam kind of spur them on, and it would just be described as like Adam shooting alongside them and like a flurry of Adam arrows making the difference. But for this, I think it's gonna have to be Bela / Erica.
Sorry.
I'll spend 1.
So you're gonna go for it?
Yeah.
All right, so you ambush their ambushers because your cunning little brother read the bastard's book, and you knew what was coming with that bolster. It's just that was what made it so frustrating. So you're so close. I'm
Yeah.
like, there's got to be something for a 1. That is enough to straight up destroy this unit. So we're gonna say that unit of guerrillas throws a volley of javelins as they then close and finish them off with short swords and spears. Yeah, that unit of guerrillas is destroyed.
Okay.
Those fools, they fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Of going to war with House Nymerian. All right, and then Bela, you are up again.
Alright, I'm gonna tell Balin Swan to have his infantry go over to fight the knights on the right flank that are involved with Reyna's cavalry
Right.
and
All
Lord
right.
Dondarrion as well.
So Sir Balin Swan, he's attached. We're not going to worry about the discipline roll there. His guys are trained. Let's just save the roll. Who do you want to make the attack roll, Bela? I mean, I would argue it's appropriate for Bela since Balin Swan is her boyfriend. But if you wanted to let someone else do it, like because Reyna's on the right flank or whatever.
I'll let
you
Reyna do
can,
it.
but-
I'm gonna dish out all of the rolls today,
All
except for
right.
some command ones for myself.
So
Excellent.
they are roll 4, keep 4, I do believe.
Yeah.
Clickety click click.
Sorry.
That was clearly a clickety click clack.
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Felicia,
you
are
can-
you rolling?
Erica.
Yeah,
Who's rolling?
you are.
Yeah, it's you, babe.
Yeah, I'm trying to dish out all of the rolling. Since I'm in command, I don't have to do the work myself.
All right, how many? Sorry, 7.
It's
Four.
No, it's roll 4. These are infantry, not cavalry, so they don't get all the
The
animal
bonus
handling.
animal handling nonsense. Okay.
Yeah, like everybody else gets to roll cavalry. If it's infantry, Felicia doesn't.
What the
It's-
fuck is wrong with you?
Can't have. What?
Okay, roll 4, keep 4, right? So I've got 11, 12, 14.
All right, that's not bad. These guys are combat defense 4, so that was just enough for another degree of success.
Yes.
Balin Swan's unit is damage 5 because they are burly Stormlander boys. That is 15 points damage. These knights are now routed. So, the Stormland Heavy Infantry, led by the lantern-jawed Sir Balin Swan and his mighty Morning Star, come wading in. And as those footmen go surging in past and streaming through the cavalry of Blackhaven and House Bridington, you actually see the redoubtable Sir Balin Swan brain an enemy horse with one swing of his Morning Star and wrenches it free and then brings it down on the rider. And then he turns and gives a quick little salute and nod to the Lady Reyna and Lord Barrick, and his infantry continue their grim work.
Fucking hell! Like I thought hitting the horses was a no-no.
Do what you
Yeah,
gotta do when you're
sure.
when you're an infantryman fighting cavalry.
Yeah, you're at a severe
I
disadvantage.
guess. Yeah, I suppose it's evening the odds.
You can bring that out at their wedding, though, like as an objection.
Yeah, you know,
He attacked the horse. What do you
Sir-
think, Elia?
Sir
Man,
Balin, the
horses.
Stallion Slayer.
Damn.
Let's see. The final infantry that we have moving forward, because I'm leaving 2 back with the archers, just in case, is the House Ironwood Infantry. They are green, so I will have to give a command to them to do this.
Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and make your roll for this one
Yeah.
because they are, I believe, the worst unit you have. Like, I'm
Aside
pretty
from
sure
our
they're-
support unit, yes, they are the worst. Wow, another 16. I keep rolling a 6, a 5, a 3, and a 2 every single time
Well,
for this.
It works.
Hey, if none of them come back, it's okay.
So
They're going
it is
to
a
go to the.
successful command.
They're going to follow Sir Garrus's infantry onto the left flank into that big melee, because Sir Garrus got into combat and didn't quite disorganize his target.
So this is Sir Alfric's knights on the left flank.
Okay.
Correct? I believe that's who is still over there. It's them and the raiders got destroyed. There's criminals over there also.
Oh, that
So
was
do
it.
you
The
want-
criminals. Yeah,
Do you want him
Yeah.
to attack the criminals or the knights?
the criminals, because looking at their stats, I don't think they're going to do any damage to the knights.
Better odds. All right then. All right, who's rolling these 3 fighting dice?
Ash, go ahead and roll for these Ironwoods.
Yep.
These Ironwood men.
Yeah, I mean, since you killed the heir to House Ironwood, like now you get to order his dudes around.
Yeah, let's not
That's-
tell them that.
Pretty sure that's the rule.
We only half killed them, like 4
No,
times.
no. Adam totally killed him.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's not going to be like leaning on this.
Some say that, others say Adam half killed them. The fall to the ground half killed them.
Yeah,
Well,
he
the
doesn't
thing-
get all
the
the
thing is-
half-killed bullshit. That's just me.
It's a minority opinion, but it's what Maester Luke holds.
Well, if anything, he has to insist he full killed him even more because Elia is insisting that she full killed him.
Oh yeah.
That's
Elia-
just not on.
Elliot didn't say she killed him. She just said she beat him.
And yeah, it's still annoying.
I mean, she was the one in front of the guy in the horse race. You were way behind the guy in the horse race.
Yeah, doing the actual work. Anyway,
It's right. You can beat him. You can be the master of beating him.
yeah, I beat him permanently. Right, is it 3 dice again?
Yep, 3 dice keep 3. I noticed you calling Adam the Archer a master beater, even if Adam didn't.
Yeah.
And because it's your birthday, I'm gonna call it out as my gift to you, Robert.
It was a pretty sloppy pod.
Filth, utter filth. That is 10. Not very good, unfortunately.
All right, 10 on the attack roll.
Just like an Ironwood would do.
These guys are combat
we
defense
tried.
6, but that is still going to be a basic hit for
damage.
3 points of damage.
Right.
These guys are armor rating 1. No, wait. Watch this. They're armor rating 1, so 2 points of damage get through. They were at 2 health, so
Oh,
they
wait.
are exactly disorganized. Like the minimal effort from House Ironwood, who sent you guys like the rookiest motherfuckers they had, and then remember that they got ambushed and like starved and dehydrated all the way here. So this is, green infantry by stat line with their athletics 2 and endurance 2. Like they're scrawnier than like Adam or Reyna. And they were just barely able, though. They have now disorganized this unit of criminals.
This
Well,
is
I
how
mean,
Raina felt when she half killed the other Adam.
Well, I mean, in those guys' defense, I don't think they know that they're like the kind of lackluster effort being sent. I think they're doing their best.
Yeah, I mean they're proud to be a part of this coalition.
They
They're
don't know
the
they're the
unit-
worst group.
Yeah, I mean they're the unit that was handpicked by Lord Anders Ironwood to represent the House in helping wipe out this bandit. So like they seem completely earnest. They marched through
poor
2
guys.
nights. They
Yeah.
marched through 2 nights and days solid without water, like to
Yeah.
get to you guys and to rally. Like they're
Yeah,
making a
can't-
good faith effort.
Yeah, I can't be mean about them. I'll be
The
mean
Lord
about.
doesn't send just anybody, and then you smash cut to send the worst people.
Yeah, he's like sending them our garbage.
Yeah, and I'll be mean about the guy who gave the order. I won't be mean about the guys who are just doing their best.
Yeah. All right. The order is still Bela's.
I have 2 more personal orders. And if I
Sorry, go
wanted
ahead.
if I wanted to, we have 2 infantry that have NPC leaders that could go and do something. I'm thinking my personal order should be to undisorganize or rally 2 of our troops.
If I may make a request, like my archery unit is disorganized and has 0 health, so if you have one of those actions to spare, I would very much appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
let's.
it means I don't need to spend the next
Yeah,
action doing.
the same is true for my cavalry.
Yes, and Lord Dane's cavalry as well. So I have 2 actions, and there's 3 of you. So
Who do you like the most?
family.
So, which of you wants to keep Edric Dane in danger?
I'm gonna say get forget about me. I'm fine. Help
Aw.
Edric and Luke. I'll be all right.
He's like, just rally Edric's twice. Help him. Help him, Erica.
Okay, well then I will go with the 2 cavalry. I will rally Lord Dane's cavalry, which is a hefty
all right.
leading.
They're
3.
veteran knights. They're fine. Like I'm not even gonna make.
I have
the-
4
the
dice
roll.
and I need to roll 3, so
Yeah,
done.
like they're good.
And then the Swan trained cavalry that Sir Lucaris is on, I will need a 6 on 4 dice.
Yeah, let's
And
go ahead and
we're
roll
good?
that one because there's a chance of failure.
Yes. I have a 13.
All
So they're
right,
also
both of
fine.
those units are reorganized. Their leadership is back to normal, or their discipline, excuse me. But they are going to keep those -1 die penalties to represent that
Okay.
just like they lost a fraction of their forces. Um, so they're still beleaguered and not going to be hitting with full potency, but they are rallied and ready for further orders in the very near future.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. What do you guys think? Should I send out our other two infantry to really hurt our enemies, or leave them back to defend the
At this
archers?
point, I would say, and you take it just as you want as advice, but I would say they're fully committed. We need to be fully committed now.
Okay. Yeah. Then
As far as we know, anyways, they are.
let's see. All right, Alison Mormont. Her unit of infantry that she's leading, some trained Ondarian infantry, will go to fight the knights on the left flank, the Sir Alfred.
All right. The Howling Daughter of Bear Island is going to go leading a unit of burly Stormlanders. Who wants to make that role, Erica?
Let's go with Lucaris. Robert. They've already been disorganized once, so they are roll 3, keep 3 dice.
Let's
Okay,
roll
see what
4,
happens.
keep 3.
Oh,
They
sorry.
still
Yeah,
get
roll
to
4,
roll
keep
those
3.
dice to just keep 1 less die. So you still have a little bit,
Okay.
bonus.
We got a 5, 6, and a 3, so that is a 14.
Okay.
All right, a 14. They are combat defense 4, 3 degrees of success. They are
Woo.
doing 4 damage per, so 4, 8, 12.
Not bad, Lady Mormont.
That gets through their armor, and that's all it has to do because they're disorganized. They are now routed.
Yes.
Nice.
So yes,
Bear
Sir
Island,
Alfred
don't fuck
Knights
around.
are beginning to openly waver. Like in their defense, I believe they've been attacked by like 4 units this round. So they've seen some shit. It's him and like 6 dudes left. So yeah, they are starting to scatter and try to recoil from the fight. And Bela, you are up again.
Okay, on the right flank, is there anyone that's not routed?
Their Dornish cavalry on the right flank are disorganized.
Okay.
And then further back on the right flank, they do still have peasants.
Okay, I'm not going to go for the peasants. We're going to go for the light cavalry. So Obara Sand is leading some trained Ondarian infantry, and that is where she is going to go.
All right, so they're charging the Dornish skirmishy cavalry. Is that correct?
Yep.
All righty. She will
Raina
send them
can-
screaming in.
Raina can roll this. And they are roll 4, keep 4.
Raina is Felicia.
Yeah, Felicia.
Just making
Yeah,
sure
it's
she
me.
heard this time. I'm
did.
just double checking so we're not all sitting
Safe.
and waiting.
Good call. Roll 4, keep 4?
Yeah.
Alright. Piecemeal this up. 13.
All right. They are combat defense 7, so that is 2 degrees of success. Damage rating 4. Is that correct, Erica?
Yes.
So 8 points of damage. That'll get 2 points through their armor, which is not much, but they're already disorganized, so they are routed. Any damage when disorganized routes you. So, so they've currently got 2 units. 3 units. All their remaining cavalry are on the cusp of being gone.
That's it for our side then.
All right. So then, let's see here. At the end, because now the turn is over, because
Mhm.
all the orders have been given,
Yes.
which means any routed unit now sprints away from the attacking units. So, the archers in the center, which are like the Vulture Queen, the Red Roses archers, they're going to go running back at just archer foot speed. So they're going to still potentially be able to be reorganized in the future, I'd say. Because they're also having to move through the units of peasants. So I'm just going to say that kind of slows them down enough that her archers are not off the field, even as they're running backwards. But we've now got knights, and Dornish cavalry that are all sprinting away. And a sprinting cavalry unit is pretty freaking fast. So what I'm gonna do, let's see here. We are going to erase one unit of knights, and we're gonna keep one unit of knights around. Basically saying that the remnants of those two knightly units have narrowly reorganized themselves at the back edge of the battlefield as the Vulture King moves to kind of reorganize them in an extra phase at the end of the round. So they're going to drop to disorganized, and we'll say one unit of them vanishes into the other unit, and he is now going to be attached to them, which is some shenanigans, but I feel like they earn some shenanigans since every round ends with Bela taking 6 actions.
Those bastards have learned the fusion dance.
And he now needs to give them like a rousing Mighty Duck style speech before they go back in.
Mighty Duck style. That's
I forgot what the game was really about.
We are
Well,
vultures.
8th time.
Fly together.
But the light and skirmishy Dornish cavalry does light and skirmishy Dornish cavalry stuff, and they scatter off the edges of the map. They are not made
Wow,
of
racist.
they're not, yeah. They are not made of the stern stuff that knights are. So, and we're gonna say that in the fluff, their horses are also a little bit faster. They kind of should be. So, you guys have them down pretty low here at the end of round 2. That has all happened. And under second player actions, that was the shuffle going on of like the take command type of stuff. Because second player does their special actions after all the orders fly. So that's going to be John Sand, the Vulture King, taking over that unit of knights. And then I believe we circle back around to step 10, repeat.
Should we take a break now?
Loops us back around to step 4 of rolling initiative. So, let's get some warfare rolls out of the way. And we are going to roll initiative and get things ready to go for the next round, and then we're going to take our break.
Okay, I have a
Just for the
13.
While they take a break, let's attack so we get an extra set of attacks in.
That is a 17 for John Sand.
Okay. Yeah, it was not a great roll for me.
Okay. We. So that's initiative. Step 5, siege weapons taken care of. Step 6 is going to be first player actions. They can organize and rally disorganized and routed units as one of these actions, not as an order. So 1 second as he attempts that. This unit of knights, that is a roll with some 6s in it, so that will do it. And then we are moving into step 7 orders, but we're going to take our break first. So the action ends before our commercial break with the young bastard knight of House Dane, Jonathor Sand, rallying the heavy cavalry on his side as the rest of his units are. Oh wait, sorry, 1 second. The Red Rose is also going to try and rally her archer unit in the distance, and that was an actually absurdly good roll. Yeah, she got a 17 on 3 dice.
Bitch.
You'd rather have her roll that here than on her next attack roll, right? So if she's
Yeah.
gonna get 6s and 5s, that's the time. So yeah, the Vulture King rallies his heavy cavalry, and they begin to spin around and prepare to charge. And perhaps seeing that, the Red Rose, the once Vulture Queen, the flame-haired archer bandit, also gets her murderous band of snipers to plant their feet and begin to draw back their bowstrings. And now we're going to cut to a commercial. We'll be back here in a couple minutes, everybody, as we move on to the 3rd round of this combat. Lots of
took 2
people have
hours.
died really fast. So, see you guys when we get back from this break.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the carnage here in Westeros. It's just not a Song of Ice and Fire game without a whole bunch of gratuitous bloodshed, and we are bringing that to you in this story arc. Here at the climactic battle between the Southern Coalition, led by House Nymeria, but especially the Lady Bela, against the forces of the Vulture King, who has gathered to his side deserters, brigands, bandits, and some rebellious small folk from throughout Dorne and the Stormlands. Things don't seem to be going too great for the Vulture King here, but the good news for him, at least, is that he is up at the top of this round as we move into step 7 in a warfare round, which is actually giving orders and doing the thing. So what we are going to try and do here, looking at the units that he's got, again, we're not using a battle map here or playing a game of Total War, but basically 2 of his 3 infantry units, the main battle line, are still there. And they've been maintaining their defensive position there and holding the line. But you hear a shout from the enemy side as the knights are wheeling around and rallying around the Vulture King. He seems to be keeping a steady grip on his army. And as his knights are kind of, cinematically kind of back to like midfield, he yells, and you can't make out all of it over the tumult of battle. But the last word that definitely rings out clearly is now. And he's got his left unit of infantry and his center unit of infantry and he is going to try a pincer maneuver to send them in with that bloody fracas on the left flank. And it looks like he has decided to commit his infantry reserves. So a pincer maneuver is difficulty
fun.
+3, but you have to split your warfare dice in order to give the order.
It's
So
challenging.
the odds are pretty good.
Well, that's
This
his
is
gamble.
gonna cost him perhaps a destiny point or something. All right, sorry, 1 second. I had to reset my initiative or my order counter. All right, so we have a 10 will work there, and then this one he has to drop because that's a bonus die, but that is a 12. So all right, the pincer is successful. So now the units may make an attack with +1 die. So the bulk of his infantry line breaks out of their defensive postures and they go rushing into that swirling melee that's been taking place just off to the left of the center of the battlefield here. Let's get a recap on the Nymerian side. Who all is on that left flank right now?
Not me.
I can't remember what side I'm on.
You're in the
Luke is to the
center.
left with on the Swan Cavalry, I believe.
Allison's
and-
over there.
Yeah, and
Alpha
Adam's
Mormont's over there.
Yeah, Adam's basically in the center. But yeah, like Allison Mormont led some infantry up there. We've got Edric Dane and the Knights of Starfall up there. We've got Lucaris's cavalry up there. Garrus Drinkwater's infantry up there. And
And the
Ironwood Infantry.
the
Ironwood
Ironwood
Infantry.
infantry.
It is a fucking mess.
There's a lot of people there.
So, let's see. So what's supposed to happen with a pincer as written is that both units attack the same enemy unit. What I'm going to do instead is randomize each one because we've got 3 units of infantry and 2 units of cavalry up there by my count. Is that correct? Like that's what everyone else is
I believe
settling
that.
on,
Yeah, that should be
right?
right.
Yeah.
So I've got a D10 that I'm going to roll as a D5 functionally. And of course, it's a 9. So the bottommost unit on the list that's up there,
Sir Garrus.
yeah, is going to be Sir Garrus. So 1 unit, we'll say this is the center infantry, the way I've got their 3 delineated. In my notes, I now have attack drink because that's the level of detail that I'm putting in on keeping track of who is doing what.
No, wait,
Um,
that's what we're going to do after the battle.
Yes, we
Attack
are.
drink.
Hell,
Charge.
they stopped stabbing me. I'll do it now.
Charge drink. They are going to come rolling in on the infantry of House Drinkwater, bannermen to House Ironwood. Oh fuck, that's a 20. They are
Jesus.
rolling for. They're rolling 4, keeping 4, and they got 6-4, 6-4. So that unit is combat defense 5, I do believe.
Yeah.
So that'll be times 4 damage, which is 6. So that is 24 points of damage coming at the troops from House Drinkwater.
Goodbye.
Their armor knocks it to 21, but that then is double their max health. So, the pincer, at least to begin with, is quite workable as they scythe their way through. That center unit kind of pivots and swings and sweeps into the flank of this new battle line that is constantly amorphously shifting and changing as units are disorganized and reorganized.
I could check if it's definitely rotated to the right. Their right, our left.
And they cut down and scatter the infantry of House Drinkwater. That's 10 points of armor ignoring damage to Sir Garrus himself. But you do still see that yellow hair standing firm in the middle of that battle line. He seems determined not to shame his family by leaving. So, the other infantry unit, okay, they got a 1, so it's the opposite end of our D5 spectrum here. I believe the topmost unit over there is going to be the Knights of Starfall, if I'm reading the spreadsheet right. Like that's our 1, 2, 4. Yeah. So all right, the Knights of Starfall get attacked. This is a roll 4, keep 4. All right. The good news is it's not quite a 20. The bad news is it's a 19. So they got 6. So our dice
The
are
devil's number, +1.
yes, the dice are etching strange patterns into our souls.
The nature of the beast.
The defense of the Knights of Starfall is a 4.
So still exactly 4 degrees of success.
Right. All right then. Good for them, I guess. Now, the good news is the leftmost infantry don't have the weapon upgrade that the center infantry had. The center infantry were supposed to be the personal troops of the Butcher, one of the bandit lieutenants that you guys took out, and in doing so, you have downgraded that unit pretty substantially. So the leftmost infantry does have a lower damage rating. Their base is going to be 4, so that is 16 points rolling into Edric Dane and his cavalry.
So 6 still get through, but they were on 0, and so they're back to disorganized again for the second time.
They are disorganized.
I'm scared for my friend.
And that is 2 more points of damage that ignore the castle-forged armor of the young Lord Dane.
The goggles, they do nothing.
But that is the First Order on the Vulture King side is finally committing the bulk of his infantry to this battle. And now it is Bela's turn to give an order.
Okay, let's have Lord Dane fight off those who are attacking him.
All right, the young Lord Edric of Starfall has to give an order, but it is veteran cavalry that he is the lord of. Well, they're disorganized. I think he still just needs like a 3 on 3 dice, so he is fine. They have successfully gotten the attack order, and now they will fight with, by my math, it's roll 9, keep 4, right? Animal handling plus fighting plus 1 is 9 dice, and then they would keep 5, but they've been disorganized, so they're only keeping 4. So that's not too shabby. Who wants to roll 9, keep 4 for young Lord Edric Dane battling against the Vulture King's infantry?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I dropped a dice, only have 8 available, so you go ahead and do it.
You're my boy, Blue. Alright. Okay. So.
And roll all 6s. That'd be good. That'd be great.
I mean, they don't have. It was roll 9, keep 4.
Keep 4. So that is 20 exactly.
Oh,
All right.
All right.
And that unit is combat defense 5, so getting a neat iteration of 5 is just about perfect. So that's going to be 4 times the base damage. That unit is animal handling +5, so their base damage is 9, which
Oh.
is they're close to Orisian damage there. When you give that attack upgrade to a cavalry unit, they get pretty gross. So let's see, that's 36 points of damage, I think. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
To that infantry unit. Well, these guys do have armor rating 4, so they're destroyed.
32.
Yes.
And as we've been doing in the lore, we're gonna say it wasn't entirely just the Knights of House Dane that just killed 200 healthy men in a fraction of a second, but it is certainly the young Lord Dane of Starfall leading the charge as troops rally and turn and begin to cut down those spearmen.
That's my boy.
Yeah, it is.
Which brings us back to the Vulture King's side. They've got a bloodthirsty unit of archers that just reorganized, and I'm going to say that those archers, because they moved back some, they can only attack people that have been like advanced in and charged and stuff. So they can't keep pouring the fire on your guys' archers back in the backfield. Because last turn they got routed, they ran away, they just reorganized, so bowshot is going to stay people that have moved up. Let's see, who is she mad at? Who is
Insert
she
innocent
mad
missile
at?
here.
She's just pretty mad at everybody.
Is she still mad at Atom's unit?
Well, yeah, but she can't reach your unit. Like they can't keep trading blows because she just ran backwards. So
Well,
she's
it's a relief, to be honest, because I probably couldn't take the hit.
yeah. I think she's just going to lob a volley into that melee on the left. I think that's gonna be the move.
Come on, hit your own unit.
Hey,
Hit your own
just
unit.
so you know, because
So we're gonna do that that D10 roll again to just kind of randomize who is sucking up the hate.
You know, I've been shaking my head no. I feel like it's unfair for us to ignore that.
That's true. So that is the infantry from House Ironwood. That's
You know, on
not
second
gonna go
thought,
well for
All right,
them.
goodbye.
actually the way we want to go.
That's not gonna go very well for these guys.
Oh no!
So, yeah. So 1 second here. They are down to keeping 5 dice because they were
That's that all.
disorganized. Yes. Wow. All right. It's a 24 against the green infantry of House Ironwood. They are defense rating 4. That's going to be a lot of damage. These guys have a base damage of 6.
It's gonna be a mouthful of fucking corpses over here.
Yeah, so the infantry that House Ironwood sent have now both units been destroyed in the first 2 orders given on the Vulture King's side.
They're probably gonna blame us for this. I want you guys to know that just for later.
Yeah, and we can slay it back. Don't send us your greenest of the green, then fuck. And send them the
Wow.
sword. Also, fuck you,
All right.
you were helping the enemy.
So that does it for the Vulture King's side's second order. Kicking it back to Bela.
Okay. The archers are really far away. Kind of want to give some payback to those archers. And How about looking at my list of cavalry options? Could send Lord Dondarian over to deal with those archers. But I'd have to go like through some ranks of people to get to those archers, right? Since they fell back. Is that correct?
I'd say because your cavalry are on the flank either way, and because cavalry are pretty stinking fast, and because their infantry have moved in to attack, I'm going to say that a cavalry unit can go up and around the peasants instead of having to charge through them. If you want, you can order a cavalry unit to charge through a unit of peasants with the trample maneuver and into the archers. But if you don't want to, you don't have to.
I am not going to order that. I'm just going to say, attack those archers, go around the peasants.
And this was to whom?
Lord Dondarian and his
All
house
right.
cavalry.
Felicia, you want to roll that then?
This would be, roll
He
7,
rolls
keep 4.
a lot more dice. Or he rolls 7, keep,
Keep 4.
4? Or
Yeah.
is he down to 3?
Nope, keep 4.
Yeah, they have not been disorganized. They're still keeping 4.
He's taking all my good rolls, man. 18, 23.
23 against that unit of archers. They are combat defense 9. So that'll be triple damage. These are Knights of House Dondarian that are damage 6, I believe. So that'll be 18 coming at you. Their armor rating 2. The armor rating keeps them from getting one-shotted, but they are absolutely still disorganized by that.
For the 3rd time, disorganized.
Which actually, 1 second.
Yeah, what is the limit, by the way?
Is it
Is
the
it
number
there?
of times you can be disorganized? Is it endurance? I gotta find it. 1 second.
It might be.
Because I think it's like wounds. I think it's like if you're. 1 second. So of course my Adobe Acrobat just had to fucking freeze up.
Yeah. It would make sense that it's endurance.
Yeah. The accumulated penalties from disorganization are endurance strike. Yeah, they're out. So the Red Rose and her red-fletched archers, the elite unit on the enemy side, have been scattered after one last vengeful volley. One second as I adjust my Word document to add them to the dead heap.
Yay!
All right. So that makes it the Vulture King's side is up again. We've got peasant, 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 criminals, and the infantry have already gone, and we got the knights. Let's see.
Have you looked at
All right.
chat lately?
What's that?
I said, have you looked at chat lately?
A little bit,
Okay.
So, you see the knights
Couple
that have
bros.
reformed kind of midfield, and they are starting to move to support their infantry charge when they see that the infantry have hit the walls of the Knights of House Dane, allied with their fellow Dornishmen and armies of Stormlanders, and he sees that just meat grinder continue. Um, and you see the knights kind of trotting still, but you can make out that the Vulture King has stopped. He's jerked on the reins of his horse, and is openly turning and looking as Beric Dondarrion is turning his flank. And you know from reading through what you read of the tactical books that you know he's got access to and all, like, you know, he should have committed his peasant reserves before this, instead of letting like literally 300 units or men of light infantry linger in reserve behind mantlets in defensive positions. He should have committed them into that swirling, gruesome meat grinder on the left flank already. And now, with cavalry getting around behind them, you know that he should be sending those 300 peasants with their pitchforks and their spears and their woodcutting axes to overwhelm that like 24 knights that are back there and are alone. And instead, you see him waver for a moment, and then he just waves with his shield arm, and the peasant units begin to break and disperse. Like they're just starting to kind of scatter and try to run. And his unit of criminals is going to be who he officially gives an order to, because they are over there on the left flank and stuck in that melee. So his official order is going to be to the criminal unit, which is going to try and stab somebody over there. But he actually does have to roll warfare because they're criminals and they're disorganized. Wow, that was a pretty good roll to be warfare instead of an attack. So that could have been worse for you guys. The criminals have successfully gotten the attack order. And now I need to decide who they're going to attack over there. Because we are down to 3 units, I believe, in that melee. It is the
Do we
Knights of
get any
Starfall.
cover from all the bodies?
I'm afraid not. It's the Knights of Starfall,
It averages out. Okay.
Alisane Mormont's infantry, and Lucaris's cavalry, which are from House of Swan. Is that correct, Erica?
Yeah.
You've got those 3 units left? Okay. So let's say it is
Well,
Edric, Alisane, Lucaris.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, what?
no, nothing.
Was there a... Okay.
Yeah,
So again, we have to roll to see which unit is technically being attacked, but these guys are just like stabbing and hacking at everybody they can to try and desperately stay alive. And with a 5, that is a 3 on our D3. So it's Edric, Alisane, and then Lucaris. So Lucaris, your unit gets attacked by this unit of criminals. They are not... Okay. I see you. That's a 15, which is pretty stinking good on keeping 3 dice.
It is not bad. What is our defense over here?
4.
That unit, yeah, is 4. So...
Is there anything I can do to
That'll be-
reduce his successes?
Right now you're taking 12 points.
That will disorganize the unit for
yeah.
a second time.
So you guys get softened up some more, but not wiped out or anything.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty ragged, but we're here.
Yeah.
And that's another 2 points that ignores armor on Luke.
Okay, yeah.
Gotta
Luke
keep
has
track of
2
that.
injuries total so far.
All right.
I should have used a fucking injury on the original damage, so I'd stop wasting all these 2s, but,
Yeah.
foresight.
Yeah, it's all good. And it makes sense to be battered and bloodied and stuff at the end of a
Oh,
end of
he's
a
gonna
big fight.
He's
You
gonna
know,
be pretty beat up, but so far no major injuries. No major wound. Well, let's use the right terms.
All right, so that does it for the Vulture King's order that turn.
Okay. Let's have. Shoot. Like, I want to use my archers, but I can't just shoot into that giant melee, is the thing.
I mean, you can. Like, I let them do it. I'm letting you guys do it. In the abstract, it's still just going to target a unit. You know. So,
Yeah,
like,
it only
it's
is
allowed.
an issue if they're using like the envelop.
Oh, okay.
kind of
Yeah,
then-
thing.
by
Let's
the
go
rules.
with archers then.
Yeah, like it's fine. Yeah, you could go ahead and have an archer shoot.
Okay. I'm going to
Yeah, a
start
bunch
with.
of arrows want to help us out. Luke will not complain.
I'm going to start with Oberon's group because they don't have a disorganized penalty.
Right.
So,
right.
Ash, if you'd like to roll for Uncle Oberon.
I told my uncle on these guys.
We're gonna fire at the like the bodyguard, the honor guard infantry.
So yeah, they've got what they have
Force.
left in there is a unit of criminals and a unit of infantry.
Yeah. So at the infantry. and
Yep,
it's
so roll four, keep four.
12. Not very good, unfortunately.
All right. They are combat defense 7, so that is going to be double damage. So 10 points coming at them. They've got armor rating 4. All right. They are damaged but not disorganized. As the first wave of arrows crashes in among them. Which means, as the Vulture King gave a resigned sweep of his arm and ordered the peasants to start running, that means the Vulture King has just criminals, infantry, and his knights left, and the criminals and infantry have already gone, so it's just going to be his knights.
Brace for impact.
Try to decide which way is cooler to go. Let's see. Yeah, he is going to lead his unit of cavalry through the melting peasants as they're splitting on each side and hoofing it to the extremes of the battlefield. He's going to go charging through the gap they create at the cavalry unit in his rear. Because that's the unit that's the biggest threat to the rest of his dudes right now. Can't just leave a unit of fucking Stormland or Knights behind you. So they're going to go charging at Lord Beric Dondarrion.
No.
Oh no. Okay. That's not a bad roll. If you like hips. So it would be roll 5, keep 5, it's roll 5, keep 4, so they drop a 3, but they keep a 22.
So Felicia, how attached are you to Beric exactly?
That is a lot.
I have a sticker on my computer.
For
Yeah,
us,
we know.
us Dondarrion. So all right, that is. They are defense 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not quite that extra degree of success. So yeah. That is still going to be 5 times damage. And they rolled well, and knights have low combat defense. And they all right, in the abstract, because I reformed this unit out of 2 units of knights, 1 unit had weapon upgrades and 1 didn't. So what I'm going to do is split the difference and say this unit is
Yeah.
animal handling plus 4, right?
Okay.
Because it's normally 3 or 5. I'm just gonna like drop a point to make up for the hand waving.
Yeah.
So
Like, it
that's
doesn't-
what we'll split the difference.
Like, it
Uh,
doesn't matter. Like, the numbers are so
yeah.
high.
Yeah, and I think it's still gonna wipe that unit out.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to like for future rolls, like I'm trying to like find an average there. So yeah, that's gonna destroy that unit. That's 10 points of damage on Lord Barrick. And I believe he's just endurance 3.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be an injury on him. But yeah, so the Vulture King turns and leads his unit back to cut down the knights in their backfield so that his men can hopefully run away without getting trampled, is definitely the vibe that you got from that. It was a very resigned charge of, I need to do this so that knights aren't in my backfield. So yeah, that does it for him.
This
And
might be a
actually,
good- Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Ash.
was just, yeah, I was just gonna like say to the others, this might be a good time to make sure he doesn't get to run away. We might want to close in on him.
You know.
And the good news is, that's the last of his orders. So basically, Bela gets to do what she wants now. Like you've got, I think, about a dozen, feels like, orders coming up, because he's just out of people to command. So
Did I roll another lot of archery?
not yet.
Okay. I was getting confused.
Speaking of
Yeah.
archery, I would like Elia's archers to shoot at the infantry.
All right, Ash, you want to go ahead and roll that one?
So hers are 3d6, is that right?
It's 4, keep 4.
4, okay. $13.
All right, they are disorganized.
Okay. Adam, your archers fire at the criminals.
Right. What penalty are they at for being disorganized?
1 less kept dice, so roll 4, keep 3.
$14.
They are. Sorry, and that unit is that damage value. And they've got that shit for armor. All right, yeah, they are disorganized
Okay.
for the second time for them.
Alisane Mormont, her infantry. I'm gonna have her attack the infantry that are also there.
Alrighty. Who wants to roll for the Lady of Bear Island attacking a disorganized unit?
Does Robert know? He rolled
Look,
I'll
for
do
Felicia,
it.
Okay,
Felicia looks eager. Well, I mean,
Robert,
eager.
roll 4 dice, keep 3.
There you go.
Okay. All right, 16.
Nice.
They are routed. The daughter of Bear Island roars, a wordless one. It's not like here we stand. It's not Bear Island. It's not forward. It is a bear. She just roars, and the foot troops of House Dondarion surge in behind her. As she just goes charging in. They're like, oh, we should keep up. Like it's not like giving an order. It's like, yeah, follow me or don't, whatever, I don't care. And they start to surge into the remaining heavy infantry of the enemy side and are notably pushing them back.
Okay. Luke, would you take care of the criminals that are there?
Stop, criminal scum.
I will rally my remaining forces and lead them to attack. I think we are down 2 dice.
Yeah, roll
it-
7,
what's
keep
total?
2.
So
Roll
yeah,
7,
you
keep
roll.
2.
Yep, 7, keep 2.
Yeah,
That's gross.
yes.
You're down to like 6 dudes, right? Like you're
Yeah.
down pretty low. They are combat defense 6, and for the record, they are already disorganized twice.
Well,
Uh,
I rolled pretty bad, but I got 11.
all right, as long as you hit them, actually, because that unit is okay. Yeah, no, that would have done it. Yeah, just hitting them at all actually destroys them. As it is, you've got an extra degree of success. So yeah, they are panicking and starting to fall back. And you and your bloodthirsty Knights of House Swan take out the bloody mourning on them and do a number.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah, they were already at
We are
-2 disorganized, so that's it. Like they cannot reform from this route. They are
Luke's
destroyed.
cavalry are rather ragged, but we are here.
Let's see. Reyna, charge the Vulture King.
Then we shall charge the Vulture King.
Roll
Get 'em.
7, keep 3.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead. In my head, you only got the +1 like the first time you fought next to Lord Barrick, but
Right.
Lord Barrick and his unit just went down in that cavalry charge. You saw him fall, so I'm gonna say you get that +1 back because that +1 gives you another degree of success. Like because you're right there on the cusp.
I'll take it happily.
So because you're right there on the cusp, we'll go ahead and give that to you. Because it's dramatic. He rode in and rescued you. You're riding in to rescue him. Yeah, it's a cool story. Your base damage is a 6. So we are looking at 24 points of damage. Yeah, they're going to be disorganized.
It's a start.
Alright. Sir Miles, charge the Vulture King. So be roll 6, keep 3. Adam, why don't you roll this one?
Sure. What am I rolling?
Roll 6, keep 3.
6. Okay. Nice number. Well, that looks okay. That is 15.
All right, against their combat defense of 4, that is enough. That unit is now routed. And we're just going to keep things mysterious here, in that the same way you saw Lord Barrick go down, you see the Vulture King go down.
Now we go over and poke him with a stick. Make sure that he's.
At this point, all the enemy units are routed. We've got a unit of infantry that at the end of the round will be running away. And there is a bloodthirsty northerner leading Knights of House Dondarrion who just saw their lord go down. So I think it's pretty fair to say that Alisane Mormont is going to charge them down, assisted by Sir Oris the Aurochs, who comes in from off-screen, just covered in gore. Like his storm his stormy mottled gray horse looks like a blood bay. Like it's just covered in blood, and they'll take care of that. And we are gonna cut to the piles of bodies and downed horses that are now kind of in that backfield um, where the Vulture King has gone down.
Is it possible at this stage to detach from my unit and go
Yeah.
up there with the other three?
I was gonna make that call to say, lords, ladies, sirs, converge on the Vulture King.
The ones that hear you do so. Prince Oberyn is wounded still, like he's gonna stay behind. Sir Miles is up there because he just led a charge. Beric Dondarrion is pinned beneath his horse for a few gut-wrenching moments. Like one leg is underneath it, and his horse just has like a lance sticking through its throat.
I know that
He's
feeling.
able to wrestle his way out. He's very ginger on that leg, but you get the feeling that he just has a couple injuries, not a wound. And we're just going to kind of cut from NPC to NPC a little bit here. So Luke is able to disengage as the small handful of his kind of borrowed troops that remain are assisting in keeping the routed. He's able to race up there. Adam, you're able to recover your horse, and you and Elia ride up together with Prince Oberyn just leaning on his spear, saying, "I will stay here, I think."
I just
Good
gotta
idea.
add, Luke looks like shit.
Yeah, right?
He's not as badly wounded as he looks, but he looks like shit.
If possible, like just before riding off, I think it would probably make sense for Adam to like tell his archery unit to like either mop up stragglers or like start establishing a perimeter.
They are fine with doing so.
Yeah, just to get, I mean, like just in case, basically. But then we'll like ride up, and if there's like a named NPC who's without a horse that needs picked up on the way, you can fetch them.
Let me keep going down the list, and we will see. Because it's just me reading down the spreadsheet. Edric Dane races off because he saw Lord Beric's purple lightning-streaked cloak go down. So he goes chasing up there. Lord Beric is already there, and we've got his Lady Alysanne is busy. Sir Oris is busy. Sir Balin Swan was already like halfway there, so he will come trotting up with his Morning Star arm just covered in blood, and his monochrome white and black halved plate mail is just spattered with blood here and there. He's in pretty good shape. I don't think anything really happened to him except for the mess he made hitting things. And yeah, the only notable NPC that you see making his way towards the backfield is a rather shell-shocked Sir Garrus Drinkwater, Adam. His long, sandy blonde hair is streaked with red, and you think maybe he regrets flinging his helmet away, even if it did get his dudes to charge really well. He's, it looks like about 2 injuries deep, to put it in game terms. Like, he's pretty battered and bleeding, but he is making a good faith effort at trotting up to answer the Lady Baela's call.
Well, I'll kind of, yeah, like ride up next to him and like offer him a lift, basically.
He stops for a moment and doubles over with his hands on his knees. You realize he's just catching his breath.
Yep.
And he straightens up and says, "This is, yes, that would be lovely. Thank you, my lord." Uh, uh,
I'll offer him an arm to kind of help sort of pull him up behind me.
uh, let's try. Here we, 1 second, and up. It takes some work because he's a much bigger dude than you, and he's
Yeah.
in armor that is a little bit more than chainmail. Let's call it like scale-ish.
Yeah.
Like it's like chainmail plus the shoulder pads type of thing that you see in movies a lot. Heavier armor, and so it takes some doing to not like pull you out of the saddle on accident. And he looks a little chagrined by it all.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll just tell him that you fought very bravely. So, yeah, you don't need to walk all the way up there.
Appreciate your generosity, young lord.
Well, I'm sure before the end of the day we'll be able to find you another horse.
He is looking around the battlefield, and you get the distinct impression he's looking for his men, not for any empty horses. And there are lots of empty horses kind of trotting around and running away from people and stuff. But you see him just kind of looking over his shoulder, a little bit wide-eyed, of just like, "Hey, where did those guys go? Like, I worked really hard to get 200 guys upriver here. Where are they at?" And remember that destroyed doesn't mean they're completely destroyed. That comes from die rolls later. But he definitely looks like he's just kind of like,
yeah,
"I lost more than my helmet. Where is everybody?" Kind of shell-shocked look.
Yeah. I think Hannibal would just be kind of trying to not freak him out and just say like, we'll do a proper count once we know the enemy is neutralized.
So as everybody approaches, having to weave around piles of bodies, navigate spooked horses, pick up stragglers, etc. We're just gonna say kind of most of you get there at about the same time, and you're there to see as you're like 50 yards out, and 40 and 30. You see the Vulture King stooped low over a kicking horse, and then he straightens up, standing over it with a bloody sword and a resigned slump to his shoulders, and he turns to face the oncoming nobility with his blade. It's a rather fine castle-forged bastard sword from the look of things, in both hands. And he's just kind of glaring exhaustedly up at the lot of you, and standing actually in front of the corpse of the horse that he just put down, almost protectively in front of his ruined and then mercy-killed courser.
Throw down your weapon, or we will be forced to kill you.
It's done.
If it's a question of steel or a noose, I would rather choose steel. And he just looks like he knows he can't win this, but it looks like he just doesn't want to die to the hangman.
You fought bravely. You spared the peasants. There's other options. You have one. Besides the noose or the steel. And Luke says this as he's exhausted, trying to catch his breath, just coated in blood and grime.
There is the black.
Sir Balin stares on grimly, and he says, "Or a challenge by combat." He can fight us one at a time until he falls. And you can tell that Sir Balin is like, he's gonna fall to the first one should be me. Like, that's definitely the implication of Sir Balin's grim tone.
I nod to him. He may very well succeed in one or two fights, but he won't win. Yet, he could have sacrificed a lot more men than he did.
Well, without armor, the people of Lowfields would have just been butchered. And you killed my butcher. No, better to let them go. And he's catching his breath a bit, and you can tell he's like fighting an adrenaline dump also. But like the good thing about like proper longswords is that holding them with both hands, they're not going to tremble like an empty hand or even a knife or something. But you guys recognize that dump in your body as you're coming down from it. And for a few moments, he looks almost startlingly pale beneath the kind of sun-swept skin of a Dornish bastard. And you're sure that whatever joke anybody told about him being Dornish is not true. Like, you notice as the flush of battle is leaving him, his is not the deep and golden tan of a Dornishman. It's some northerner, right? Some Stormlander or other northern folk were what bred him. And he just looks cornered and tired. And he's looking from like knight to knight and lady to lady and lord to lord. And you can tell he's thinking about which ones he could probably kill.
As he's doing so, Luke throws his helmet off just to the ground. Just pulls it off, the hair in the wind, tosses it to the ground.
All right, make a seduction attempt. I figured that's where we're starting.
Fucking roll it. Do it.
There's a lot of adrenaline on Luke right now.
Yeah, Luke's gotta fuck the pain away.
Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna add something else, but I figure let everybody else
just
get involved here because he does so.
And next we could see Sir or Lord Barrick has also kind of just exhaustedly pulled his helmet off as part of getting out from under the horse. It's hard to breathe with all that shit on, right? And like young Edric has like thrown his away as he scurried over, and Lord Barrick is like leaning on Edric's shoulder, and you can tell that the fight has just kind of left most of your compatriots. They seem grimly resolved. Like if they have to, they'll kill this guy. It's that sort of just bone deep exhaustion. And Oris isn't here right now, who's probably like the most. Oris and
searching somewhere.
Yeah, like Oris and Alisane are like the two kind of crudest / most bloodthirsty of the lot of you. Young Elia Martell is still atop her horse, and it's kind of like excitedly sidestep, prancing, high-stepping. Her arm is still bandaged all the fucking back, but she's got her spear, and she's looking grimly resolved, and has kind of sidestepped her horse over near Sir Balin. Like I got your back. Like, yeah, let's kill this guy, right? Like the 14-year-old girl is like, yeah, I'm in, right?
I have thing I want to say to him, but I want to give everyone else a chance to do this, to talk and get involved. So,
yeah,
but Luke looks like he's about to jump in there.
Yeah, Adam's not going to say anything, but he's like going to be kind of clearly like siding with Luke here, and I guess looking at Jonathan kind of not exactly sympathetically, maybe a bit pityingly, I guess, but like is looking at him like, yeah, like you should probably take the black man. This is that's probably a good idea.
So I'm not gonna make people like this. Isn't like a cinematic universe Civil War square off. You're not actually like picking sides here, um, right?
No,
Like you guys aren't gonna fight over
I
it.
was,
But I
I was
just
meaning,
figure a
Can
little.
I be giant man?
I figure a little drift one way or the other. It sounds like we've got Edric, Barrick, NPC wise, and Luke and Adam kind of on one side. We've got Garrus, Drinkwater, um, Elia, the Elia Sand, and Sir Balin Swan kind of on the other side, looking a little readier to like just finish this. So again, it's not like a literal square off. You guys aren't in a fight, but we're just kind of tallying votes. Reyna, you've been up here since that unit. Oh, sorry. Also, Sir Miles is on the finish it side because he did get kind of captured and like staked out in the sun for a couple days and stuff. So right now it's kind of a 4x4, and we've
Have,
got the twins still to weigh in.
have we seen
And then
Sir Win yet?
there's been no sign of Sir Edwin since that initial absorbed charge.
Yeah. Okay.
So right now you've got the twins still up there. In theory, Prince Oberyn could.
I'm sorry. Did you say that Miles Manwoody appeared to be on the finish it side?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like again, he hasn't spoken up. He just kind of drifted over that way a little bit. Like when Sir Balin spoke of a series of challenges, a couple people kind of slid that way. Like, yeah, like I'm down. And you know that Sir Miles is also nursing a wound, just like Elia Sand is, but they're still like, fuck this guy. Like you know. But yeah, so the twins are up there, and have not made a decision. And of course, you know, it's ultimately up to Bela as the leader of the army, or nominally Reyna as heir to the house could overrule Bela as leader of the army. So either way, it's really kind of up to you two. But it looks like the NPCs and your, you know, like your siblings are both on the side of keep talking at least a little bit, and potentially, you know, try to talk them into taking the black, while
Yeah.
the NPCs are split the other way.
Yeah,
Reyna
Luke,
takes
Luke
off her
clearly
helm
has.
so
I'm sorry.
that she
I was going to
can
say
look at
Luke
Bela.
clearly hit.
Okay, guys, one at a time. Let's let.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, go ahead.
So Reyna will take off her helmet and like sit it on her knee and rest her arm on it and look at Bela. Look around. It's like all this mess. And just nod at Bela because this has been her project.
So like nodding at Bela and staying in the center of the two kind of wings that have formed.
Yes.
So kind
That's
of
my
a
intention.
whichever way you go, I'll go. Okay.
Yes.
Um,
I'm still a horse.
Yeah.
Especially that I see Barrick has Edric and Barrick are over there and Barrick's not bleeding out all over. So
No, he's okay.
yeah, and Edric, for his part, with his helmet off, you can see he's got like a big smear of blood on his face. Doesn't look like it's his necessarily, you know, but he's got like this, you know, big smear of blood along one cheek. But as he's looking at the injured Jonathor Sand, who seems to have resigned himself to die, there is no missing the streaks of tears in the blood, as Edric is like concerned about, you know, it could have been for Lord Barrick going down, but you definitely get the feeling that young Lord Edric Dane is kind of silently begging one of his mentors to not throw his life away.
Well, I will get Reyna. You know my history with bandits. This is the leader of bandits. Then I kind of like glance over at Adam. He and this is just me like talking to Raina, you know, like sisters. Like he was really upset at the idea that we wouldn't try to give him a way out.
He was.
But we've offered the choice. He wants to die here.
Huh? I look down at at him, the Vulture King. You have two choices. You die here in combat with us, or you take the black and you serve the kingdom at the wall
The wall needs
until
good
you
men.
die.
He looks, let's say, kind of Bela, and like the twins are kind of standing together, or rather sitting on their horses together for simplicity's sake, and he kind of sweeps the whole group, and you actually see him like physically lean towards the Balin Swan side, like his sword like
What?
swings that way, like you can see him thinking, and you recognize some almost familiar death-longing madness behind his eyes that might be the bloodlust of a northerner in Alisane Mormont that you recently saw, and it might be what was hiding behind the eyes of the Mad King Eris once upon a time, or the doomed Dragon Prince Rhaegar. Like it looks like it's just this like I really want to go down swinging for a moment, and as his gaze sweeps that way, he says, "If I surrender, will the people of Lowfields be punished, or only their leader that swore them to me for gold?" And it's like he's clearly still wanting to like die to, but it looks like that sort of kind of negotiation thing might be a way to keep him from
Luke,
just attacking somebody.
Luke takes a step forward as he prepares his spear, and then as he says that,
Before you,
stop
Luke,
and look to the
okay,
sisters.
let's also let Ash start because he had his hand up.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
So let's
I
go
mean-
to Ash as like a first response,
Yeah. No.
unless you wanted to say something else, Ash. But
Well, it was more like before he spoke, I kind of had a thing to say, but like now that he's spoken, I kind of have to adjust a bit.
okay, do you want to go ahead and let it go to the sisters then, or
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it was like going to say, you know, like Edric says that you're not a bad person, and I suggest you prove that. But if he's asking about the people of Lowfields, I mean, like Adam can say, like, I'm not in charge here, but it's certainly not the way of House Nymerian to punish small folk for doing for doing as they were told.
Folk of Lowfields were used and sold to you, basically, which is not, which is punishable by death, also here in the Kingdom of Westeros. So,
just as a quick kind of out of character meta reminder, what you had heard about Lowfields was that the village reeve, Andric Whitehands, had been withholding some taxes, and that sort of thing. And you definitely get the feeling that Lord Manwoody does not hold this Andric Whitehands in very high esteem, and there certainly isn't anyone else in that village that could have brokered that sort of deal. So
Right,
it
right.
sounds like the Vulture King himself is like, punish this Andric Whitehands dude, not all the rest of the pet. Like there
And
is a clear choke point
I'm
in
not
the already
arguing.
established narrative. Is all I'm
I,
saying.
I, as lo- if the people of Lowfields turn over White Hands to us, they remain free under the benevolence of Lord Manwoody.
I nod along with that and say, I agree.
Fine. If you'll not set your horsemen and archers on the remaining small folk. And he kind of looks around the lot of you, and then at
Edric.
the, the the tiniest of you at the far end of the line, and he slumps his shoulders and sticks his sword into the ground, and then just falls on his ass, exhausted, next to his horse, and then holds his arms up. He's, very well. I'll take the black if you'll let me.
Luke looks to his sisters.
Take him.
Yep.
He is now our prisoner. He's in our custody. Treat him as such. Pass that along.
Luke will reach around for like a wine skin and toss it to him, and then put his own weapon away.
So the first thing we do to all our prisoners is we get them wine.
Yeah.
Get him drunk a little bit. Everything's fine.
I think it's maybe time for this then.
Boys.
Which one is that? I can't make out the
It looks
label.
like Targaryen.
House Targaryen.
There you go.
There's an exhausted sigh from Luke as well.
All right.
Celebratory drink.
We're gonna do a bit of like a lot of cleanup is happening off stage. At some point, we should be rolling for casualties as death tolls are gonna come in by like that evening.
Right.
But for the moment, we're gonna have a scene of Edric, Dane, and Lord Barrick are off seeing to their men, or being seen to by Maester Ferris. Oris was last spotted just unbuckling his armor and letting it fall off, and pouring buckets of water over himself. Like, just like, because he is sticky. He is a mess.
I want that.
Trying to
The same
kill
thing.
Adam.
I want water.
So I'm just gonna.
Felicia?
I said, are you trying to kill Adam? His poor
Uh,
heart will explode out of his chest.
I'm trying to go through the NPCs that you guys see during this like slow motion kind of montage of post battle. Prince Oberyn has kind of taken over the cleanup, and is just going around
Pointing at things.
idly pointing, with a spear, and everybody scurries to do things. Elia looks disappointed that she never got to kill anybody today. She didn't actually get to take part in her first battle. She was just back with some archers, so you can see her kind of sulking a bit. Well, as the camera slowly pans past her, she's like arms crossed with a big pout on her face. Sir
And
Miles,
it's Adam's fault.
Sir Miles is seeing to the wounded, as a knight here of the hosts. He's overseeing, body counts and seeing to the dead and that sort of thing. Edric and Barrick are off seeing to their men and their injuries. Alisane Mormont has an assortment of cuts and scrapes and bruises on her, and is last seen not headed towards the Maester's tents, in the company of Danger Twink, a young Damon Sand.
Of course.
Work our way through. Oris,
Stay in
again,
his course.
yeah. Oris is,
Danger Twink.
he was just kind of there in case Prince Oberyn got attacked,
Right.
and he was probably one of the like squires running messages and stuff as needed, that sort of thing. But he was just kind of off street. Oris is just exhaustedly cleaning off from the 100+ men he killed today, Sir Balin Swan is last seen with one of his small folk soldiers with their arms slung over Sir Balin's shoulder as he's helping them to the maester tents. Uh, Same with Sir Garrus Drinkwater. He's got someone else's small folk soldier that he's helping off towards the maester's tents. It's not even an Ironwood or Drinkwater, just like somebody that needed a hand, and since another knight did it, he will do it also. Sir Edwin Wynne is dead. He has joined his wife, which you get the distinct impression is what he wanted. But yes, he is hacked almost to pieces and is found with a small smile on his face and a locket clenched in one gauntleted hand.
Oh, damn it!
And so it's going to fall to the young scions of House Nymerian. You present your captive to Lord Manwoody, who doesn't have a personal stake in this. Like he didn't know John Sand ahead of time or whatever, and he just gestures airily for you lot to march him down to the prison cells. And as you're on your way down to those cells, and the Vulture King's been disarmed, etc. You know, he is down to kind of the padded, the quilted stuff under his heavy armor type of thing. And you lot grimly march him down there just to see to it personally, because everyone else has their hands full. And as the cell door shuts behind him, he kind of leans on the bars. He's just tired. He just looks tired, like more than injured or anything else. He just looks tired and beaten, right? Like he had an idea, he had a plan. You lot are the ones that fucked it up. Like he knows he probably would have had this if it wasn't for House Nymerian and like the officers he lost. And he just kind of shakes his head, leaning against the cells. He says, "Did that Drinkwater Knight even know?"
Know what?
No.
Luke shakes his head.
Think so.
Know which side his lord was fighting on in this?
We don't think so.
Have someone bring me a quill, ink, and some paper, and I'll write whatever it is you need me to write. I don't know if you should even tell him or not, but I guess that's your problem and not mine.
I see no reason to bring it up while they're in camp here.
You will receive your writing implements, and you can write whatever you most feel is most important.
The truth, preferably.
I'll give details of Lord Anders' assistance, and I'd rather not write it, but can you lot tell Ned I'm sorry about all this?
I'll make sure he hears that.
Anybody else got ideas, interrogation, question, persuasion-y stuff they want to do?
Luke just nods his head.
I know. I said I am gonna reach out and like grab the bar like next to his hand and lean in. Be like, it was a damn fine try.
I thought you were going to say something like, I swear to God, if you fuck us.
I will fucking.
Oh, I just appreciate how close he got.
Yeah.
He'll give kind of a rueful shake of his head, and just kind of walk backwards till he thumps into the wall and then slide down it to sit with his knees up. Well, at least I fucking tried it. It's more than the Dark Star is ever gonna do.
And I'll add this, John Thor. Had you tossed those peasants at us, you wouldn't be here right now.
No doubt because they would have turned the tide and you lot would be in chains.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so.
I wouldn't mind another wineskin when someone brings me down some paper if you don't mind.
I'll see to it.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people up north who could use a good leader, so do good things up there. Do great things.
Vulture's Roost is the farthest north I've ever gone, so suppose
Just
it's
bring a
time for
coat.
me to see something besides Dorne.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen all of the north, but what I have seen was nice enough. And well, if you've still got that death wish by the time you get there, I'm sure there are plenty of dangerous things you can get in fights with.
There are plenty of opportunities up.
All right. He looks resigned and exhausted, but perhaps from the treatment of others instead of himself, he looks willing to confirm, not that it's even absolutely needed, your suspicions about House Ironwood, etc., etc.
Yeah, a written confession from him, like detailing the Ironwood's involvement, would be very helpful for us.
I would like to arrange him to have a guard on his cell that's one of ours, around the clock.
That's a good idea, actually.
And I'll
The
make
other
sure he
good-
gets his wine.
You guys do have a pretty big assortment of trustworthy NPCs that could be talked into it instead of just faceless NPCs, because he is the Vulture King and a knight. A highborn or knightly guard, especially the ones that know about the Ironwood evidence, like would not be impossible or even terribly unlikely.
Good
So
idea.
you could cycle through some of them. They're not going to work as long a shift as like a small folk infantryman would, but yeah, they could just kind of take turns hanging out with him. You probably have to specifically give Uncle Oberyn serious instructions not to poison him. Like, seriously, Uncle, we're not just saying this so that you use a subtle poison. Like, I mean it. Don't kill this guy.
Like really
oh,
don't do it.
real.
Stop winking at us. Just don't do it. Right? So, like,
Got
but
it.
if you
The maesters
if
won't
you
know.
make that sort of thing clear, and also Maester Ferris would come by to see to his injuries, and that sort of thing. We just don't need to role play out every single one of those scenes.
I am all for Oberon to watch him.
Yeah,
You can trust Oberon.
Everyone does get bandaged as needed. We will assume that healing rolls are made, as long as you lot stay to like low stuff. So again, we don't need to roleplay out you guys splitting up to go to a maester tent and come back or whatever. So let's just cut to like dinner that night, let's say.
Can I have just like one little
Sure,
thing?
yeah, and I was gonna say like if there's nothing else that people wanted to specifically do, we can kind of fast forward to the next time you're all together. As far as I have
Yeah.
played,
Yeah, just like kind of once we were out of earshot of him, really, Adam was just going to say to Bela, look, I know that this wasn't the exact outcome that you wanted, but justice has still been done. And I hope that that's enough.
It would have been nice to bloody Sunfire with the Vulture King's blood. But
I know it's what you wanted.
But it turns out we are going to get some valuable information. I don't regret it. Thank you for putting that earworm into my brain.
I think just, I mean, I don't have the same feelings about bandits as you do. I mean, I'm not a fan of them, but I think just to my mind, a life is of more use when it is doing something useful rather than not existing. That's just my personal view.
Maybe.
But
I'm not sure how
you know.
useful someone on the wall is. I mean, we've all heard stories, but like, it's been so long.
I suppose perhaps we can think of it as the reason it's been so long is because it works. Perhaps.
So they say.
I suppose there isn't really a way to know that for certain, but I'd rather not risk finding out. And
Yeah.
I believe
Oh.
Edric when he says that he's not a bad person. And I think sparing the small folk that he had shows that he's at least not all bad. So
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't have to be happy with the results to recognize that the results were good.
I'm glad to hear that. Because this is very much your victory.
It is. Still, we lost a lot for it.
As they're talking,
We'll
Go
make
ahead.
sure that every one of them is remembered.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do something.
As they're talking, Luke grabs all three of them and pulls them into an embrace.
Oh.
Aww.
I love the look of discomfort on Eric's face. They're like,
Okay.
All right. Our next step, kind of in character, is actually figuring out what the casualties of this were, which is going to be a process of like a couple days and then probably a couple weeks after that to wait and see which way the infection goes, right? Like that sort of thing, working with Maester level technology here. So we've got a couple options there. Aside from ravens with appropriate updates, does anyone have big stuff planned, or can we fast forward a couple days while we make these survivor rolls and then pick up from there?
yeah, not really, other than like giving Ned a really big hug. That's basically it. Because he looked like he really needed comforting.
He will shudder against you with crying, but he keeps it silent because he is the Lord of Starfall. So like you can feel him crying, but you know that nobody else can hear it.
I got you, boo.
All right, let's get a bunch of fucking D6s out then, so we can tally up just what happened. I'm gonna start with some Vulture King units, and this is on page 190, I believe it is, in the PDF for anybody that wants to take a look at home. We're gonna mess around with the survivor table as we do the grim math here at the end. I've got the Vulture King units ready to go, and I'm going to roll down their list as we go over kind of the results. And while Erica, if you can compile the list of your units, make sure you've got the notes for which ones were damaged or were disorganized or
how do you want me to
worse,
organize
right?
them?
So you work on that while I do this with
What-
the NPCs.
Wait, sorry. Specifically, what do you want me to do?
make sure you've got that list ready to go with which
Oh, it's
ones
ready.
were, damaged, disorganized, routed, destroyed. Just make sure you've got the notes ready. So what happens after a fight, chat and players, since none of you guys have had to do this before, at least in this campaign, um, is at the end of a battle, you roll to actually see what happens in terms of injury and desertion and infection and sickness and all that. So you even have to roll on the survivor chart for units that took no damage, um, because maybe they still just got sick in camp, and even without formally being damaged, if you still charged a unit into melee, there's an assumption that the other unit was kind of fighting back a little bit, and in the fluff, everybody gets hurt a little, that sort of thing. So there's a chart, and you just make a d6 roll, um, and then it's no damage, damaged, disorganized, routed, destroyed. Those are the statuses of these units. What we're gonna do is say, like, A, you guys have a maester, and B, you guys have a support unit. So let's say before you guys start rolling, Erica, roll a d3.
3.
Okay. So, like, to be clear, that's the highest result on a D3, not
Yes,
the
I
middle
rolled
result. Okay.
A
Just
5 on
wasn't
a d6.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, wait, let's double check. So we're gonna say that 3 times during this process, as having a maester and that support unit, 3 times when you're rolling total, you can add 1 to your d6 roll, to reflect good battlefield conditions and having a support unit that you can kind of, filter fresh bodies into troops, or, that sort of thing, right? And the supplies that a support unit brought. The bandits and stuff don't have that. So just to get us started, I'm going to roll for the 3 peasant units that are all the same. I got a 4, and a 6. So these 3 units that all immediately just like deserted as the first thing that they did. So they are no damage. What they should get is, bless me. What they should get is intact, which just means no change. Intact for another 4. But the 6 means that one of those peasant units should go +2 training levels. So they should get bumped up to a veteran peasant, like, small folk militia unit, because, like, we saw some shit, right? Like, and they're just supposed to jump up like 60 XP or something from surviving. Realistically, that's not going to happen with a unit that does nothing, right? But I just wanted to show you guys kind of like that's what should happen there, right?
For the record, I also suffered no damage in battle, so I would like to jump up 60 experience points.
Yeah, let me just roll a d6 and see what I get, right? So it's kind of weird.
Oh,
Their next unit is their unit of knights that were routed. This is a bad column on the chart. Oh, fuck. They rolled a 2. That is -3 training levels. So their veteran knights should go to trained, green, gone. Right? So that unit of routed knights is mathematically destroyed. Now, what's that's going to happen for routed cavalry is that they've just kind of scattered, and there's, a couple dozen bandit knight, what do they call those? Just bandit knights? Robber knights, that's the cool term for them. So there's some robber knights out there. Some hedge knights are going back to hedging it up, right, type of stuff. Unit of criminals was destroyed. This chart is rough. It is a 1 or 2 is destroyed. A 3 is -3 training. 4 is -2 training. So you have to roll a 6 on a destroyed unit for them. The criminals are actually fine. So the criminal unit just got a 6. They are still technically intact. So if these
So the
were
countryside's now plagued with criminals and robber knights.
yeah, if this was, armies that were reforming to battle later in a campaign type of thing, they would still have that unit of criminals with no penalties. They're still at full strength going into the next battle. That unit that was destroyed is actually fine. Dornish cavalry destroyed another 6, and those guys are actually pretty okay because they just rode off. Raiders that were destroyed, a 3, -3 training. Those guys are actually wiped out, and that's how this works. Just each column is worse than the last. So those units that are counting as destroyed doesn't necessarily mean that all 100 of them died. Just means they're down, they're injured, they got scattered, they lost their nerve, that sort of thing. But the body count is still going to be pretty high. But let's move on and work on some of our units. So, Erica, you want to just work your way down the list? Let's have you roll for the units, except for the ones that had a PC attached.
Okay.
Right? So, like
Gotcha.
Luke gets to roll for his unit, that sort of thing.
Oh shoot! I hit that column.
And for your guys' purposes, let's only worry about the Nymerian and Sandstorm and Bridington units. We're not necessarily going to roll for all of them. So, like the Dondarrion and Swan units, they'll take care of themselves. The Knights of Wind Tower are wiped out to a man. But let's worry about your units. And then let's also roll to see what the casualties are for the Ironwood and Drinkwater contingent. But the Dondarrion, Dine, Swan units, they're just going to be kind of licking their wounds, and we'll worry about them kind of off screen.
All right.
But yeah, let's work through the actual, troops of House Nymerian here.
Okay. So first up, we have House Nymerian trained guerrillas who survived with no damage. They had no leader, so I will roll on the no damage thing. I rolled a 3, so that corresponds to intact. If I consider adding 1 to the roll to make it a 4, that is also intact on this table, so there's no benefit to use it here, so they just have no change.
So they are okay.
Next is the trained House Nymerian cavalry that were destroyed. They were originally led by Sir Lucaris, so if Robert wants to roll 1d6 to determine their outcome.
I got a 1.
Okay. That is plain out destroyed. Bumping that to a 2 is still plain out destroyed, so they are just gone.
All right.
UFLB dice.
Okay. So we have a unit of trained archers that Adam led. They became disorganized. So roll 1d6 on our disorganized table for me, Ash.
5.
That gives them intact, and there is also no benefit for bumping that up, so they remain intact.
All right. So they took a couple casualties and stuff, but they are still, if you guys had to get in a fight again next week, they're still, counting as 100 men, no penalties, etc., etc.
Yep.
Adam wants to get them a big old barrel of good booze because they did so well. They deserve it.
So Uncle Oberyn led a group of trained archers from our banner house. They took no damage, so that is a roll on the no damage. So I roll this. I rolled a 3, and there is also no benefit to bumping up. So it's a good thing we have all these +1s.
I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of padding, and instead it's like, no, listen, either nothing happens or they're gone. They're gone forever.
You got to use all 3
The
at once.
archer's gone!
Cousin
Gotta
Elia also led a group of undamaged trained archers. I rolled a 2, which is intact, so no change.
Our archers learned nothing from this.
We had some
Not
guerrillas that did not have a leader. They were undamaged, so I will roll for them. I rolled a 2, which is intact, no change.
All right.
We have some trained Brightington cavalry led by Raina. They became disorganized once. They ended being just damaged, though, but they count as disorganized.
Yeah, you roll for So, Reyna, sling a d6. See how bad off your troops are.
And you said there's a +1 in here?
No,
Actually,
just
I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just count them as damaged because they were actively rallied and then did some more stuff. So for them, I'm going to say let's use the damaged column instead of the disorganized.
okay. What did you roll?
I rolled a 3, so it's intact.
So 3 is intact, and the +1 is also intact.
All
It
right.
was gonna be important if it was disorganized. That +1 would have been nice.
And finally, the last unit for Nymerian is some green cavalry from House Brightington, led by Sir Miles Manwoody. So I will roll on this one. They are undamaged. I rolled a 5, and seeing as we have 3 +1s left, I'm going to use a +1 here to bump them up to as if I rolled a 6, which is +2 training. So they go from green to veteran, which I will say is kind of fitting because they actually did quite a good amount of attacking in this.
Yeah, like they did work for 20 dudes. So yeah. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And then let's see just what the body count was for the Ironwood contingent.
Oh, yes. Hold on just a moment. Well, both of their infantry got destroyed. Oh, gosh, stupid
Yep.
cell.
So destroyed column. Let's start with the green Ironwood Infantry.
All right. Whew. I rolled a 6. The Ironwood Infantry is completely fine.
So Gareth will be happy
They are-
about that.
They are intact.
Yeah, you will.
All right, and then the Drinkwater Infantry.
Happy to return these to House Ironwood. Very happy about this. I rolled a 2 on this one, and even if I would spend a +1 here, and I would really not want to, a 3 result on the destroyed is -3 training, which would still result in them being destroyed.
Also, like the Drinkwater unit is actually completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ah.
I think
He's gonna
even-
be. I feel bad for Sir Gareth. He's gonna be so bummed out.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gone.
We hardly knew you.
So yeah, that pincer maneuver did work out. So all told, though, you guys lost Luke's cavalry. Your
Yep.
trained house cav were wiped out.
That's
and
it.
everybody else is in good shape or better off. Having learned
Yeah.
from this experience.
Yeah.
So that's all pretty cool. Could have got a lot worse on the Namaran side. And one thing that's cool, you don't have to like save up and pay power costs to like increase that green unit that's now veteran. They've just kind of bumped up, like it doesn't cost anything. And we will figure out later. You guys can probably just kind of take that unit from House Bridington because they're your bannermen, and you can just kind of say, our cavalry and their cavalry were all mixed up in that fight and blah 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 blah. So we'll figure that out later on when the time comes to do some downtimey stuff there. But yeah, like those guys got pretty badass today. They learned a lot. They learned a lot. Um, so the death counts come in. Yet more ravens are sent um, to Wyvern's Rest to keep grandfather appraised, and also sent to Sunspear to report to your liege lord, uh, Prince Doran Martell, um, and some are sent to King's Landing because it was nominally King Robert that arranged this. Ravens are sent to Starfall and to Blackhaven and to Stonehelm, the seat of House Swan. Um, some ravens return after a day or two of people licking their wounds, and injuries and wounds are starting to heal. Oris is finally clean, uh, for, so that's good.
3 days.
Um, yeah, and just everybody's getting cleaned up and bandaged up. You're in fresh, light, comfortable garments. The wails of the dying are fading because after the first couple days, it's kind of been decided for most of the ones that were the worst off, like they're gone now. And Maester Ferris, who doesn't look as excited, but still looks as energetic, as kind of frenetic or frantic. He is working hard and working seriously. Um, he's not taking that kind of childish joy in this, but he is absolutely not letting up in his efforts to keep men alive, including some of the captured bandits and stuff. Any of them that were well enough off, they're getting healed last. But there could be a pretty good chunk of dudes getting sent to the wall. Um, and you haven't seen him with completely clean hands in a couple of days. Like even at dinner at the end, he wolfs down some food, uh, makes an official appearance, and then takes off to go help and heal. Um, but here on, let's say, dinner of about the third day after the battle, Maester Ferris has been summoned by uh, Lord Dagos Manwoody, um, and has actually summoned everyone to this meal. Like all of your noteworthy NPC types are here, um,
Is
and
this
it's
in
the
the
first time.
the Great Hall or in the Solar?
This will be in the Great Hall, and you see that like we still haven't named most of them, but like the senior man from each unit is here also. The kind of grizzled man at arms that nominally leads the unit. That sort of thing. The kind of
Mhm.
the officers are here. Several of them are Knights of Starfall from House Dane. Um, they're just kind of the elite dudes here. So it's uh, but this is a formal meeting. Like they're not out eating with the troops. So it looks like Lord Dagos has spread the word to a great many of you. And this includes a very formal summons brought to each of you for by one of his sons, who have been just little hellions, they're running everywhere, burning off their adolescent energy by running messages. Um, and to their credit, they look like good lads. They've been carrying stuff and all that too, But all four of you are summoned by those little hellions that are as clean and dressed up as you have seen them since all of this. It looks like for the last week they were using the warfare as an excuse to like not comb their hair or take a bath, type of thing. But they're like, it looks like Dad told them to get dressed up. So it's a pretty stiff and formal affair that you kind of haven't seen since King's Landing, as everyone is assembled there in the Great Hall here in Kingsgrave. Uh, they pull out all the stops for this sort of highborn feast because it's all knights and senior men at arms or higher rank, actual highborn. Um, and partway through it, Lord Dagos uh, hauls himself up and out of his chair for just about the first time that you have seen. And he's still leaning heavily on the table, but you can tell he wanted to be on his feet for this. Um, and the kind of hush falls over the hall. And he says, for three nights now, I've thanked all of you that rode here to Kingsgrave to defend my family, my small folk, and my name. But I'm afraid you're going to have to hear it for another night. As I thank you all for coming, let us first toast to this Southern Coalition and all of you that came here to shed blood and spill blood in service to Prince, to King, and to the Seven Kingdoms. Assuming everybody cheerfully partakes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he goes, second, let us toast to House Nymerian, and especially to the Lady Bela, who so ably led us in these last weeks, and did what a crippled old man couldn't, and kept Kingston and Kingsgrave safe.
Here.
And that one is quite a bit more exuberant.
Yeah.
And there's several
Banging on the
huzzahs.
table there.
Yeah, and you hear a very deep-chested huzzah from Sir Balin Swan on that toast.
Oh.
He goes, and third, let us toast to my brother and the new Lord of Wind Tower, Sir Miles.
Sir Miles.
Like he's moved up a little
Congratulations.
bit, and will be taking over with the loss of Sir Edwin. And then he goes, and lastly, but certainly not least, as I've a bit of wine still to drink, let us toast to the Spears of Dorn and House Nimeros Martel, who have a prince here among us that not only aided in our defense, but has a missive to share. And as everybody toasts and drinks, Prince Oberyn rises to his feet, and Lord Dagos lets himself kind of fall back down into his chair. And Prince Oberyn lounges against the table, kind of half on it, one leg kicked up onto the table, and foot dangling like it's a stool.
Literally can't sit straight.
We don't do
Just
straight in
can't.
Dorn.
And he speaks loudly enough that everyone can hear it. But each of you, his nieces and nephews, every time you're looking at him, it looks like he is staring right at you, personally. Like where the lot of you are seated. So he's got that one leg up on the table, so he's going to turn to one side, and that's where the four of you are seated at the high table. So it is definitely meant for everyone to hear, but certainly to the lot of you. Add to your forces the might of houses Caron and Fowler, and let them serve as your vanguard in the days to come. Be wary, but fair with Drinkwater and his men. Use Caron and Fowler first, as you ride to Castle Ironwood with all haste. In the name of Robert of the House Baratheon, first of his name, King of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm, and by the word of Doran of House Nimeros Martel, Lord of Sunspear and Prince of Dorn, I charge you to bring the king's justice to the false Lord Anders Ironwood and all who shared in his crimes. I brand him an enemy of the crown and traitor to the realm. I denounce him and attaint him. I strip him of all rank and titles, of all lands and holdings, and sentence him to die. The pride of being called the Blood Royal, and the duty of being called Warden of the Stoneway are granted to Lord Makar Nymerian by royal decree. Deliver the women of House Ironwood to Sunspear, their men to the grave or the wall. And as Prince Oberyn lifts his glass to toast you, we will roll credits.
Yes.
Well, fuck. I need more booze.
Yeah, I'm like, I need more of this.
Congratulations to the player characters of House Nymerian. You guys managed to get the best possible outcome in this. And as the prisoners have been sent away to the wall and it's too late for any of you to act on it, just so that you know also, chat, luckily, the young scions of House Nimeros Martell were not kinslayers, because they did not kill this universe's Jon Snow, and instead they have sent him to the wall.
Where he should be.
Wait, hang on.
I
Jon
fucking told you,
Sand,
Rusty. I
Jon
fucking told
Sand
you.
was the bastard son that was delivered to Starfall along with Dawn by Ned Stark, that he said he found on the road on the way there, but was actually found at the Tower of Joy. Jon Sand is the son of Rhaegar Nymerian and Lyanna Stark, who had in his blood the urge to rule and lead and hold territory of his own, and who you lot managed to redeem and send to take the Black as a knight, not just a bastard of House Winterfell there by pity, but as a trained combat veteran knight and known leader of men. I'd say the odds are pretty good he gets made a steward.
I'm we may
We
get have
have
need
opened
for
a box we
him
can't.
at some point.
So you guys didn't kill your
Yeah.
second cousin. You're not kinslayers. Good job.
We have opened a box we cannot close.
Now, who knows how much the rest of the northern stuff is going to matter with the Night King and all that. But yeah, that was just a little bit of a surprised appearance of an NPC with very high warfare and will and fighting that drew men to him from many banners, that had a red-haired archer girlfriend and a red-bearded right-hand man as his most ferocious fighter, etc., etc., etc.
Once again, we don't connect dots.
You had me convinced it wasn't him, and I fell for it. But I'm glad we sent him to the wall then.
So yes, that
Holy shit.
you guys
It was
got
close.
best possible outcome in the kind of spreadsheet that I had worked up of potential outcomes. But you guys kept enough of your dudes alive. You resoundingly won. You did not damage army morale by butchering the small folk of Lowfields. You redeemed the Vulture King and sent Jon Snow to the wall. You successfully defended in the first place, of course. The only prominent NPC that died in the week prior or the battle was Edwin Wynn, who was the one that did not count against you. So, because he wanted to die, he wanted to be with his wife again. So, you guys ticked all the boxes, which is part of why House Nymerian is now the Blood Royal.
Blood royal now, guys.
And
What does
why
that
you
mean
guys
exactly?
are the official wardens of the Stoneway.
Oh,
This is not giving you Castle Ironwood,
yeah.
but the title
Well, we're gonna go
of
get
the
it.
Stoneway. Yeah. So I thought that'd be worth sticking around a few extra minutes to just kind of explain how that all fell into place, because you guys basically knocked this one out of the park. So very good
I'm very,
job,
Holy
everybody.
fuck.
I'm very
Oh.
interested to see
Oh.
who, like, I mean, if
Oh.
we successfully wipe out House Ironwood,
Right?
or at least like
Baby, can you
real
answer the
line,
door?
I'd be interested to see who gets given Castle Ironwood.
So yeah,
Rusty, I do have one question about the outcome. Did what became of the Red Rose? Did we find her? Or did she run off?
nobody's
Unknown?
found her.
Okay.
Yep,
the
nobody
one
has
that, the one
spotted her.
that keeps getting away.
She swam away through a river of blood.
Yeah. So anyways, that ends that arc and the War of the Vulture King. So I did tell you guys the second arc was going to go a little bit faster than the first, which was nominally all prequel or prelude. But yeah, good job, everybody. And
So
especially
how about
good job,
arc
Erica.
3?
Yeah.
So,
So as a reminder to viewers that might have missed at the start, we're not playing an actual session in 2 weeks. Sorry. Felicia and I are moving. So House Zimmer-Mathian is upgrading to a larger keep. And we're going to be pretty busy for the next few weeks. And we're actually moving like the weekend of the next session. So we're not going to plan on that. But Erica is going to see to the tech side, and Ash and Robert, along with Erica, are still going to hang out at the very least to do kind of Q&A stuff with everybody.
I suspect we'll have something to talk about.
Yeah. So you guys can just chat about characters, chat about Game of Thrones, chat about Song of Ice and Fire, whatever. And Felicia and I might be able to stop by and just kind of hang out a little bit too. But
But there would be no running of a game after
yeah.
the move.
So-
Sorry.
So thank you for a cool session, everybody. I hope that everyone enjoyed this arc. And I want to give a small shout out. Where did it go? The adventure that I just ran you guys through, that whether you knew it or not, it was a fan adventure called Broken Men at Harrenhal, that is supposed to be about like men-at-arms and mercenaries working to prepare Harrenhal just after Robert's rebellion, with some leftover loyalists that are out to pick a fight. So I kind of stole that idea and I twisted some of their adventures to fit this stuff and added NPCs and added a bunch of stuff. But whoever it was that made it, I have never been able to find them again. Their email is chronicle.narrator@gmail.com. I don't remember where or how I found this PDF, but
Find them,
if
chat.
you viewers have enjoyed it, feel free to shoot an email to chronicle.narrator@gmail.com and let them know that you enjoyed this kind of twist on their adventure. I've reached out to them several times via email to try and get more information and to invite them to come like watch these episodes and stuff, and they never answered me. But if you guys liked it, shoot them a note. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun way to mix, party-sized combat with some optional objectives with a battle, and I think this arc did what I wanted it to do, and it certainly has worked to continue catapulting House Nymerian into the spotlight. So, excellent job to Reyna, Bela, Lucaris, and Adam, because y'all are killing it.
yeah.
And the next
Thank
step will
you.
be we'll just waltz up to Ironwood and ask politely for the castle.
So, with that, I am out of juice, and I know that our tacos just arrived, and I will ditch you fools for tacos any day. So, thanks for sticking around a couple extra minutes with us, everybody. Don't forget, these prior episodes are up on YouTube. So, anybody that just joined us this evening but has missed the last few episodes, please feel free to go check us out, or swing by and chat with us at the Sea of Spears Discord kind of sub channel over there
come
at
on
the
by.
Shadowcasters Network. So, thanks for coming by, everybody. I hope you had a good time here in Westeros with us, and we'll see at least some of you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Bye.